So, how's life going?
Let's go on.
Is it?
I'm
That's
enjoying these
fine.
M&Ms.
Nice. Why are you saying it's fine?
No, there's always a complication, you know? There's always something going on. Like today was my face. I woke up, my face was swollen because I switched my like acne medication. And so that was bothering me quite a bit.
Yeah.
I didn't really do much with my day. It was a day off today. I had 2 days in a row,
Mhm.
yesterday and today. And I just like played some video games and stuff. It was like a relaxing, nice day, but still that aspect of my day was bothering me. So Yeah.
Can I point out something else that might be bothering you?
sure.
I'm wearing a sweater which you
Yeah.
have proclaimed, or honestly,
It's
proclaimed
too
isn't-
hot in here. Take it off.
That's not what I was going to get at. What I was going to say was
I know exactly.
Mark
what
has
you're
made it
saying.
known that he thinks that this sweater should have been his all along. Am I right
Why
or
is
wrong?
That's right.
I'm
Because
right.
it's I have been a Kanye West fan for years now.
Mm.
And the more time that passes, the more I enjoy his music.
Mm.
And
Even after all the Jewish stuff, huh?
the more I agree with his personal takes.
Mhm.
No, obviously he says some crazy shit, but like musically, I'm just a big fan of his art, his work. And Malcolm just gifted it's like a Kanye West merch sweater.
It wasn't even a gift.
Mm.
That's what
He just-
should make you more upset.
Yeah, he just had it. Malcolm had it in his closet, and then he
Mm.
was like, "Hey, Patrick, you want a sweater?" And like I think I was there, or I was not. Maybe I wasn't there when he did it, but like he knows I'm a big Kanye fan, and he also knows that like off-white, like cream, is like one of my favorite colors. And I'm a big Kanye fan, and I like sweaters and shit. So he was like, I mean, you like sweaters too. That's not the
I
the
do
point.
like sweaters.
So I was a little bit irked. I was like, why don't you give it to me? Why don't you give him anything else? And then like specifically the Kanye thing to me.
Yeah.
Do you think Malcolm did that just to spite you?
No, he just didn't think was what I'm thinking. He wasn't thinking about. I think he was just like, oh, sweater, that looks nice. Patrick, do you want it? I don't think he thought of like, oh, who likes Kanye more?
I think what he was thinking was, oh, here's a nice sweater.
Let me pick the better guy.
Let me pick the best person. I want the best man to be wearing the sweater.
Yeah.
I think is what he was thinking.
May the best man win.
Probably, yeah.
And I think naturally I came to his
Naturally.
mind. Naturally, of course, I came to his mind first.
So I watched Barbie this past weekend.
Oh my goodness! And before you get into it, out of 10, out of 100.
Well, you asked me this the other day. I
Out of
think I'm gonna
100.
stick with an 80,
Okay.
which is what I told you the other day when you asked me about it. It was really good. It was a lot of fun. It was way funnier than I expected it to be. Like, Will Ferrell's in it,
Really?
And he's
I
hilarious.
didn't know that.
And Michael Cera.
and Michael Cera's hilarious,
Oh,
and
that
Ryan
makes
Gosling, I think, to me, is the star of the movie. Like, I think he steals the show. I think as Ken, he just like, it's like the thing of like, they understood the assignment. Like, he totally just got
Yeah.
what Ken was supposed to be in the movie. as,
He's
like,
also really hot.
He's also gorgeous, and that's what's so funny about the movie too. The way they just like blatantly, like, kind of objectify him, where it's like there's really no need for him to be shirtless 90% of the movie, or like wearing an open shirt 90% of the movie,
Yeah.
and for him to look that good. Because somebody was telling me too the other day, like the insane,
Diet.
like diet and training regimen he had to go on. I'm like, they could have just kept him in shirts the whole movie.
Oh my goodness!
And just let him look like a normal, like just normal Ryan Gosling. Still would have been great, but just that extra little like. No, it's funnier if he's shirtless or like wearing an open shirt the whole time.
Never would I have imagined you to say he went on an insane regimen for the Barbie movie.
Mhm.
Like, of all the movies, he went on an insane regimen for the Barbie movie?
Yeah, but like the Ken dolls are always very like ripped.
Yes.
Very ripped?
Or not
The
very
Ken
ripped.
dolls?
I don't
They're
know.
cheap plastic. You can barely
I actually don't
tell.
know. I actually don't know because I've never held one in my hand or seen one in
To
person.
be quite frank, I was speaking with such passion, but I also have never
Yeah.
held one in my
what
hand.
I've known about Barbie dolls and like the male versions is that they're all very like
They're-
traditionally like they're made to be like the Barbie doll's made to be like very thin and curvy,
Yeah.
and then or not maybe not curvy but like
I think
kind of like
curvy.
yeah, like a model type.
Slender at the very
Sure,
least,
yeah.
right?
And then the guy's made to have like clearly shown like six pack or whatever.
Is
I
that
think-
is he correct? Have you
I
held
guess
a,
I
have
saw
you held a
I've
Ken doll?
never held a Ken doll.
Again, I'm talking out of my ass. I just,
One of us is one of us at this
Who's
table is
liar?
lying.
I've held a Barbie because
There's
Michaela used to
There's
have
a stat. There's a stat, and it says 1 in 3 guys have held a Ken doll. So which one of us
Really?
is? No, I'm making that up.
That reminds me. Michaela's going to be home soon.
should get her on.
She's somebody we should bug to get on.
Yeah, let's
That
get
would
her
be
on.
fun. What was I going to say? Yeah, so the one just quick thing I'll say
is
about...
is this in frame?
I don't know, maybe. The one quick thing I will say about Barbie is that, like, so I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Like, it's a very, like, female empowerment and all that kind of stuff, which is good and fine. And
Patrick
whatever.
hates that though.
Patrick hates that
I'm
shit, though.
such a
But
misogynist.
it's so funny to me because going into the movie, like, I saw some of the shit people were saying online, and I figured it was probably going to be like stupid and hyperbolic, but the way some people were talking about the movie, where it's like liberal Hollywood shoving more woke shit down everybody's throats. I was like, and then like dumbass Ben Shapiro put out like some 40-minute review of the movie where he's like, it's the worst movie ever, and he was like burning Barbie stuff in the video or something. I was like, I mean, how bad could this really be? And I'm watching the movie and I'm like, because it's like pro-feminist and like anti-patriarchy kind of. I was like, that's like the big deal. Or because they have like a heavier set woman as one Barbie, or because one Barbie's in a wheelchair, which I didn't even know, but Varsha was telling me after, she's like, they've sold Barbies that are like heavier women or like in wheelchairs and shit before, because there's like a million variations of Barbie.
I didn't know about the heavier woman thing, but
Me neither.
I think I
Nor
heard
the
that,
wheelchair thing.
I think I heard that like they sell, because like kids in wheelchairs want to see,
So apparently
Yeah.
that's like, you could make the argument that that's like Barbie canon or whatever. But to me, I was just like, even if it's not, I was just sitting there like, as soon as the woman in the wheelchair in the film came up, I just was like,
whoa.
This
is not Barbie canon.
This is
But
not
I was just
true to the story.
I was just sitting there and I was like, oh, so that's what pissed people off.
The wheelchair.
Like as soon as she came up, I was like,
I don't think
I was like, that right there, her popping up on screen
Can I just-
pissed people
can I just
off,
say-
because
I
I
don't-
guarantee you there were people that watched it were like, oh, what, they're trying to do like
inclusion thing.
inclusion or like represent everybody.
What I was gonna say is
wow.
I feel like people don't care about the wheelchair thing, but like the whole fat phobia thing is a huge thing right now. I feel like that's probably what it was. Of like,
Sure,
I'm trying,
but
I was trying to make like a bigger Barbie look like beautiful, and then people are like, oh, what the hell?
I guess, but I'm telling you right now, there are like a handful of weirdos out
Probably.
there who watched the movie and like
The
when the wheelchair
wheelchair?
Barbie came up, like flipped their shit. Were like, they're trying to be like so
The-
inclusive
the
for
only-
everybody.
The only people I can imagine who have like probably flipped out for that are maybe like people who like collected Barbie dolls in its inception.
Why would they care?
I don't know, because like it's not canon, like we said. I don't
No, but,
know.
No, but
he's
it
saying
is
it is
what I'm
He's
saying.
He's
Oh.
saying they've sold that before.
That Barbie has existed. My point was just that I didn't know that, so when that came up, I didn't think, oh, that's a nod to wheelchair Barbie. That came up, and I was just like, oh, cool, they put that in the movie. I don't care, but I'm telling you, people watched it and like did care. So it's just, the whole thing's just very dumb.
I can also imagine that wasn't there like one of the characters. I've seen like a poster of each of the characters or whatever, and then one of them was called like President Barbie.
Yes,
But she
like,
was like a black woman. So I
in
feel like people are
Barbie
probably pissed about
Land,
that,
like the
too.
president is Issa Rae,
Yeah.
so it's like it's Madam President's kind of thing.
So I feel like people are probably like, oh, female president, fuck that, and then also like, oh, like black female president, double fuck that.
Yeah,
Oh my
so
you know what
it
I'm
was
saying? I
just-
feel like people who are like very like anti woke, anti PC, anti liberal in general. Maybe they hate all inclusionary things. They're just like, oh, why try to make things different than they've been in the past type thing.
It's one of those examples to me.
Sounds
where-
like racism.
It is.
It sounds like it's one of those things to me where people will like complain and be like, oh, they're trying to like wedge like these ideas into everything. And to me, it's one of those things
What
where it's
ideas? I don't under,
like
I'm
just
not
like these
following.
like left-leaning like whatever views on things, which I'm like, okay, there are definitely examples of things where they wedge that in. But
A
it's
left-leaning view is that a black woman can be president.
no, but just like very like pro-feminist or like anti kind of patriarchy in a lot of ways, or the way they kind of like jab at like corporate structures or like capitalism or like
I
men
see.
a little bit, like the way they just poke fun. They're all more like, in today's day and age, they're like these more left-leaning issues that like piss all these people off on the right. But to me, it was just one of those things where it's like, are there examples where that stuff gets shoehorned into things? Yes. In Barbie, I thought it was interesting because to me, it's like, what else was a Barbie movie going to be about? Like the way, to me, the way they did it, and I don't want to like spoil things, but just like it relates to like Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. Like it relates to Barbie and Ken going from like Barbie Land to the real world, like our world, which even the real world, it's a very like cartoony version of reality. Like they kind of play a lot of things up. But even that, I was like, oh, I thought the whole movie was just going to be like in Barbie Land. But the fact that they like come to Earth in quotes, and they even reference Mattel, like the toy company, and like
Why are
poke
you?
fun at the toy company.
Mark and I haven't watched it.
It's
I didn't know
just-
they. I didn't know they come to our real world.
Whatever.
I've seen the trailer and they mentioned that she's leaving Barbie Land. I think in the
Oh.
trailer.
I didn't even get that far, or with the previews or catch
Part
much.
of me
But anyways,
is upset because. Sorry, go on.
the point I was just going to make is like, are there examples where these things get shoehorned into things? Yes. But to me, it's like Barbie as a brand has, I know it didn't necessarily start that way, and they also poke fun at that, but like now has that lineage of like, yes, Barbie is the white blonde lady, but it also is like the heavier set woman, or it is the black woman, or it is the woman in the wheelchair. So it's like it's kind of like when
these things.
it's kind of like when if somebody was gonna look at like Overwatch and be like, Overwatch has got gay characters and characters of like different races, and they're jamming it down our throats. It's like you realize in the story of the game, it's a multinational, like, super team of fucking people that are trying to save the world, right? Like, you realize that's what it is.
Like, it makes sense.
So, like, it makes sense. Yes, in reality of this world, this team of people from all over the place has that. It's not like fucking the World War II COD game where they put, like, you could play as a woman in the game, like in the multiplayer.
And it was like in I think people were complaining about
Why is-
Battlefield.
Battlefield did the same thing where like like
Yeah.
if you were playing like a multiplayer match, there were like times you'd be playing as women and
No,
people
but-
were like,
But that was a thing since like MW3, wasn't
no,
it?
but
I
people were
could've sworn.
complaining. No, but no.
the
but,
difference is from
World
a
War II,
historical
though.
sense, women running around World War
Oh,
II.
you're saying it was those were historical games?
Like in the game called
Oh.
I think there was a game called Battlefield 5.
Yes,
And in
the World
Battlefield
War II
5, like in the campaign, there's like clips of like campaign stuff, and there's like a
Okay.
whole like platoon like mixed with like guys and girls or something.
Okay.
Yes.
So
people
you're
were-
saying people were upset
people were like
because it wasn't historically accurate?
Yeah,
Okay.
there was never like groups of women officially with the army like fighting in World War II.
I see.
And it's not like obviously there were women who fought, especially in like more resistance, like in France or Russia or some of these countries where the Nazis were there. It's like yes, the resistances were made up of like men and women kind
Not
of
the
thing.
U.S. Army, I
like
guess?
not like the U.S. and the British Army. So it's like, and it's also I also get the point where it's like it's COD and Battlefield. How fucking
Yeah, who
much
gives a
do you
shit?
think they really care
Yeah.
about historical stuff?
Who plays that
But
game
that's-
for like historical
Unless,
accuracy?
unless
though?
they
But
were
that's an
unless they were like
instance-
we are gonna make this game historically accurate, and
No
then
one-
they
no one
blatantly.
But
complains
well, Battlefield it was more egregious because they've always kind of like
try to
tried to present themselves the more like simulator game,
Oh,
whereas
I
like
see.
COD has always been more like arcadey and just a twitch shooter.
The
But
zombies,
even that,
you
it's
know?
like that to me is like yeah, sure, maybe they shoehorn that in, but it's just to look at something like Barbie, like an Overwatch, where it's like this is just how these are what these things are at their core. This wasn't jammed into them. To just look at it and then be like, it's doing the thing I don't like. It's just like, shut up.
Also, I would understand that argument more if they like. Even then, I wouldn't necessarily understand it that much. But if like the main character was like someone in a wheelchair or something, I'd understand people being more like irked about that in terms of like, oh, that's not something that's like typical. But then at the same time, it's like it exists anyway, so you could do that. But they made Margot Robbie the main character. She's like a white lady, so like, why are people even complaining if it's like just like a side character thing?
Yeah, I just
You know?
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Like
to
again,
me.
I don't think they should complain even if it was a main character thing.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's like the main character is a white person. Like why are you all like up in arms about them including someone who's not a white person?
I didn't hear any. To be quite honest, I didn't hear any of this.
Me neither.
Discontentment about the wheelchair.
Neither,
person.
but it makes sense, and to me, it's like I've seen that sort of shit before. So to me,
Yeah.
it makes complete sense that people are mad about that.
I see.
Yeah.
So
This-
long story short,
can I say
Barbie.
why I'm upset now?
please, yes.
Because I've been holding this for quite a. Okay.
What?
Well, I just wanted to say I'm upset because this is gonna come out in 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and
Barbie will be over.
yeah, I just feel like it's already over. Kind of the hype about it is already over.
I mean, it just made $1 billion.
No, but I mean, like people aren't talking about it online anymore. Like,
Sure, whatever. It'll be a little bit of old news by the time it comes
I
out.
guess what I'm trying to say is, if we're gonna be a podcast that talks about current events, we
Yeah.
should like be more current with it.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
I don't
Sure.
think we advertise ourselves as like a current.
No, but
news
if we
show,
if we
you know?
want to do it, no,
I
I'm not
see.
saying we're a news show. I'm
If we're
just saying
gonna
if we
talk
want to
about
talk
something.
about, like, especially in the cold open,
Mm.
99% of the time we're talking about stuff that's happening.
Let's just cut it. Let's just cut it then.
Wait, what?
Let's just cut the whole
Let's
thing.
cut the whole thing. Okay.
Long story short, go watch Barbie. It was really good. And if the Barbie movie makes you angry, get a fucking grip. You're a grown adult, probably.
Worry about other things.
When are we gonna watch the
Worry
Barbie
about
movie?
other things.
I was under
Now I
the
want to
impression.
go watch Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I was under the impression we do Oppenheimer first because that's what. That's
No,
what we
no,
were
I'm
more-
talking me and you because he
Me.
watched it already.
Like you want to do it just me and you?
I'm not. I'm
Aw.
not saying it has to be a date, but like.
Yeah, I'm down to go next week maybe. If you want. And wear pink.
All right, we'll figure it out.
Welcome back to Wildly Adequate, the show about
You're an asshole.
anything, everything, and usually nothing. I am 1/3
Here we go.
of your host and crew.
Whoa!
Mr. Matthew
Cue the.
Sourpuss.
What music? The Top Gun music. What was that
Oh,
music?
that too.
Take my
Danger
breath
Zone.
away. Oh, that makes more
Danger
sense.
Zone.
My Brother was more
I
romantic.
am 1/3 of your hosting crew, Mr. Matthew Urso, and I've decided it's sunglasses indoors today. I am joined, as always.
Can I join that wave?
Please.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back. Patrick Fahim.
Mark.
Yep.
Also, I don't have sunglasses. I mean, do you have an extra pair?
Ooh.
Okay.
I was gonna say, ooh, left out. Yeah, Patrick's now running away to get sunglasses. Mark's here. And we got ourselves a show to do.
Yes, sir.
Mark's gonna start,
Mm-hmm.
but now we're waiting for Patrick. So I guess we're just gonna fill time.
Yeah, I won't start yet.
Mm-hmm. How are we gonna fill time?
I don't know. How's things going with you?
Things are going pretty good. I like I said, saw Barbie last weekend. That was good. I'm supposed to be going this Saturday with Varsh to Niagara on the Lake just for a few hours in the day.
What's the difference between that and Niagara Falls?
I've long since wondered that myself. I think Niagara, because I assume Niagara's like a town
Yeah,
or
I
like
think
a
so.
city, right? So
think
like
so.
I assume Niagara Falls is just literally the falls and
Mm.
maybe its surrounding area.
But On the Lake is the name of the city?
On the lake, I don't know if On the Lake's the name of the city or
That's
I
just
assume
Niagara.
that's just kind of like a part of
Mm.
Niagara or something. But then I've also never really been to Niagara proper
Mm.
in that sense. So I don't really know
Hmm.
what that's all about. But yeah, because there's a peach festival going on. And Varsh is like, oh, my
Interesting.
family and I used to do it like yearly, but then it's been a few years since we stopped. And I think her and I were maybe going to do it last year, but then didn't, or I don't even know if we had brought it up last year. But she's like, oh, do you want to go this weekend? I was like, sure, I'll go eat some fucking peaches.
Hmm.
I love a good peach.
Is the American side also called Niagara?
That is an interesting question. I do not know.
I don't know. I wonder what they call it.
Well,
They call
'cause
it
it's just-
they call it Niagara Falls, but what do they
Right.
call their city though, or their town?
Well, because Buffalo's
Buffalo sucks.
on
is
the
what,
other side of
Buffalo's
the.
horrible. I've been there like a couple times and it's the worst.
Yeah,
We
Buffalo.
don't- I'm sure we don't have any Buffalo listeners, so who cares? But
Yeah, if you're a Buffalo listener, sorry about that. But yeah,
if you're a Buffalo
Buffalo's sort
listener,
of
I'm
whatever.
sorry that that's your situation.
There was one day, because I know last week I talked about the vacation, but there was
Mhm.
one day where I went to this taco place just myself for lunch because it was like a 10-minute walk from the hotel, and the Blue Jays were playing
Mm.
the LA Dodgers, so it was weird because it's like, oh, I'm in LA watching Toronto play
Mm.
LA.
all good.
And this guy working at the bar
yeah, I
was
like
like
those.
watching me watch the game or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, are you like a Dodgers fan?" I said, "No, Jays actually," and I said, "Because I'm like from Toronto or whatever."
Are you?
How's it looking? How am I looking here?
You look good.
Okay.
And he was like, "Oh, he's like, I'm a Dodgers fan." He's like, "But I was born in Buffalo," and I was like,
Mm.
"Oh, there you go." And I should have told him that his city fucking sucks.
Yeah, we were just talking about how Buffalo's the worst and how I'm sorry for anyone who lives there because that's a horrible situation to be in.
Oh God, my heart goes out to those people.
Mhm.
Honestly.
Buffalo. Anyways, now that Patrick's barking, we're all shaded up. Mark,
Yeah.
take us away, baby.
What do you guys feel like you spend too much money on? That's my topic. because-
Food.
Okay, because I have two main things.
Okay.
One is food. I order food way too much, and I'm at work and I buy food all the time. And then a second thing to me is shoes. I have like 25 plus pairs of shoes, and like every other week I'm getting another pair from work or just like personally. So to me, it's like I feel like that's a bad addiction that I'm developing. Too many shoes and too much money on food. So I was wondering what you guys feel like you spend too much on.
I just want to make it known
Yeah.
that I'm not looking at you.
Yeah, I don't really know. I can't see anyone's eyeballs, so it's weird. I don't like it. I was when me and Matty were just one-on-one, I was like, where do I look? 'Cause I'm just looking at glass.
Maybe you wouldn't look into the frames. Where else would you
No,
look?
but there's nothing to pinpoint, so I'm just kind of like, at what point do I look
Oh, on the frame.
where
you're saying?
your eyeballs would be? I guess.
Yeah, I
But you know
guess
what the
so.
best part is?
Yeah.
Because you're wearing frames, I can't tell that you're struggling to figure out where to look.
Yeah, no, I'm sleeping right now.
So it all, so it
My eyes
all
are closed.
it all works out perfectly.
My eyes have been closed this whole topic.
It works
Show
out.
us. What?
Show us. He could just close them and lift
That's
the
exactly what I did actually.
glasses. Yeah, food is definitely something I spend.
I don't think you do.
I
To
don't.
be honest.
Here's the thing.
He
I don't
does.
think there's
No, he
anything.
doesn't. 'Cause
He
every-
really.
dude,
he,
nine time-
look at
nine-
me. He really does.
He can't.
Because to me, like every time we're going out to eat, I'd say like a good 7 out of 10 times that we're going out to eat, you or me and Malcolm, we're ordering food, whatever. He's not a part of it. He's like, oh, I already ate at home. My mom made dinner at home. Like most of the
that's
time,
true.
he's doing that.
Yeah, it's just because at first I was gonna say food, but now that I think about it, it's like I might have another answer too. But I don't find there's things that I necessarily spend too much money on. Like there are times where I catch myself with food, buying food like when I don't need it or shouldn't, or like, because there are times where if like I forget to, pack a lunch for work or
Yeah.
something, or like wake up late or whatever, and I don't have time to grab a lunch, and then I have to get something while I'm out, that like is frustrating, whatever, but it doesn't really happen that often. And I also don't order food. Like I don't have Uber Eats or any of that shit. So I've never order food. The only time I'm
Damn.
getting food out is if I'm either like where the food is or going,
I'm gonna go where the food is.
I'm going to
tonight.
go where the
It's
food
a
is.
weird way of putting it.
Like
if
I'm saying,
if
like,
I'm where the
if
food
I'm,
happens to
if
be.
I'm at work and right across the street from
Also, I'm taking my sunglasses off when I laugh because if I smile, it hits my acne. Annoying.
oh no.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Yikes!
At like work across the street from us, we have like the McDonald's and the Popeyes
That's
and all
right,
that shit.
yep.
So it's like if it's a day where I forget lunch, it's like, well, the food's right there. Shit, like I'm just gonna go
Bro,
buy
I think
something.
Patrick's looking at me this whole time. Like you're talking, and it looks like you're looking right at me.
Just staring at it.
And you go,
Sunglasses are weird.
But even when you do have food, do I want fries from Don's?
Sure, every once in a while.
3-piece Monday deal. 3-piece
Yeah, but
chicken.
but I don't do the fries and chicken and
You
all that
don't,
stuff
no.
when I've already got a meal. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't have a meal, or if I do have a meal, it's like, well, I'll get fries with the meal.
But also to me, that's a kind of healthier way. That's a healthier version of what I do, which is like, oh, like maybe I can go to McDonald's and we go and I get like multiple burgers, fries or a poutine, a milkshake, an ice cream, whatever.
You're a pig.
I'm a pig. I go all in. So like to me, it's like if you're gonna indulge a little bit and let go, like a fries isn't gonna like kill you.
There was
Sure.
a summer where we'd go to McDonald's all the time, and my order was consistently 2 junior chickens,
2 cheeseburgers,
2 cheeseburgers,
Fries.
a sweet and sour sauce, a Big Mac sauce, fries, and the large strawberry Fruitopia.
So we did that for that kind of meal. We did that
Consistently.
3 to 4 times a week when we'd watch movies. Like we'd do like our
Oh my
wheel thing.
God, yeah.
We'd order. I'd get A&W almost every single time. There was very few times. There was more times where I'd get A&W than there wasn't times.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like I probably gained like 10 pounds in that week.
That's the thing too, where I think what helps me is that I'm slightly pickier. Where it's like with burgers, for example, I love burgers. Not like as much as you might.
I've
for
never
example.
seen you put an A&W burger in your mouth in
But that's
my
what I'm saying,
entire
where it's like,
time of knowing
I
you.
really like burgers, but to me, it's like if I'm having a burger, it's either like a homemade burger
Or a
or
restaurant
it's
burger.
the works, or like even if it's not just like a restaurant. Whereas like fast food burgers
I've
don't
never seen him get. You've never
do
seen.
anything for me, which that also helps too. Because yeah, when I go to Don's, like even the other night we just went. Was it yesterday?
couple
Or
nights ago.
Monday, or
2
whatever
nights
the fuck
ago.
it was. We just went to Don's the other night, and that was a thing where it's like, oh, I want an ice cream, so I got like a McFlurry. And while we were there, I was like,
Fries.
I'm gonna get a fries too. Did I need the fries? Should I have had the fries? Probably not. But that's what helps me is like, well, I'm not getting anything else on this fucking
That's
menu.
bizarre. I've never realized that I've never seen him eat a fast food burger. No cheeseburgers from McDonald's. No Buddy Burgers from A&W. No Wendy's burger. I've never seen him eat a burger like that.
Because I'm just when it.
Have you tried them before?
I've tried Don's burgers. A&W.
Have you
and
tried
Wendy's, I
a
don't think I
junior
have.
chicken with sweet and sour sauce?
No, but that's the thing. Every once in a while, I'll get a junior chicken.
Have
like,
you tried
every
it with
once in a
sweet and
Seems like,
sour
it seems like you're
sauce?
more of a fast food chicken guy than you are a burger guy. 'Cause
That's the
you
thing.
You care more about burgers, so you want it
Yes.
to be like a nicer
Chicken to me is a thing where it's like I will happily do Popeyes every once in a while
Sure.
and just get like the tenders or
This
whatever.
is fried chicken. It's not like you can
Exactly,
really-
because to me it's just like it's not. Whereas like I expect more out of a burger,
Mm.
so it's like I don't know. I don't really need to do a fast
Mm.
food burger. But anyways, food.
Yeah, I by far, so just to close us out on food here,
for sure.
and we can move on to other stuff we spend our money on, but I by far spend most of my money on food. Doing my tax return statements year in, year out is always
Embarrassing.
a befuddling.
Thousands,
That's not.
right?
I wish I could say no.
Because I think
I wish I could say no to that
I don't
that
know,
word.
I don't know my number
Yeah.
because I have like a family accountant and I don't even do my own personal shit.
Okay.
So like to me, it's like I don't even know how often or. my
I
kind
wish
of
I
total
I
for
wish
the
I
year.
had I wish I had that. I don't want to say ignorance as in like you're ignorant,
Mm.
but I like the being blind to
Not
it as I
knowing.
wish.
But
Not
like,
knowing.
like, if I'm just gonna-
Ignorance.
if I'm-
You're ignorant. I'm gonna
Sure,
say it.
I am, yeah. if I'm gonna do a quick calculation, to me it's like, let's say I spend. Okay, let's say I work 5 days a week, right? Almost all those times I buy food at work. I don't really bring lunch. But let's say like once a week I bring lunch from home because it's like every once in a while my mom will like give me leftovers or something.
Mhm.
So like 4 times a week at least I'm eating at work. So it's like let's just round it to $20 for the whole day for eating out. So 20 times 4 is 80. Plus let's say I eat once a week out with you guys, and that's pretty like light. Sometimes we do more. So that's another $20. So we're talking about $100 a week. So 400 a month times 12. What's 4 times 12? 48.
Yeah.
So we're talking almost $5,000 a year, which is insane. And I would never, if you put that number to me like from the beginning, like, hey, do you want to spend $5,000 this year on just like fast food and shit? I'd be like, no, that's insane. But you break it down and it just feels more normal to me. But
That's right.
it's horrible.
That's right. But other than food, you have other like,
to me, it's like,
to be honest with you, that's the most salient thing, because like I said, doing my tax return, the number comes out to the thousands.
Sure. Yeah, to me it's definitely like recently it's been shoes. Like I have too many pair. I don't wear all my pairs anymore because like I have so like if I cycled through all of them, I could wear a new pair every day for like 3-4 weeks. So to me, it's like I don't need that many pairs of shoes. It's just like I work in a shoe store. The discount's really pretty generous. So I'm just like I just help my. To me, it's like I don't really shop at other shoe stores anymore because I like the shoes that I work. The shoes that are sold where I work. Yeah. So to me, it's like I like these shoes and they're like 60% off. So
yeah. To be honest with you, I've been pretty good with money recently. To be honest, like I've been a little more mindful, and I think putting it away in a smarter way, putting it away in a smarter way.
Sure.
I hate how I formulate sentences sometimes.
But also, to me, it's like I feel like now that I finished paying off my car recently, and so
congrats.
Thanks. It was a couple months ago, and since then,
couple months ago, you finished a couple months ago paying off your car.
Yeah.
You never said anything
because I've been paying it for like a year.
But you never said anything that you finished.
Yeah,
a couple months ago?
Yeah, like probably like...
A couple months ago, we were talking about how you were, I don't know if this is TMI, but how you were stressed about like paying some stuff, and there was something, I don't know, you had some payments that, it was the dentist, like fitting in the dental payments, and then you had to push the car back, you were going to pay it off later. Yeah,
because I had like a big, like, I don't know, I guess I could say surgery, like I was going to do like an implant thing. And that's like $3,000 down payment plus like an X amount per month for like a year. Yeah. So it's like it's a pretty hefty amount. So I was like debating whether I should prioritize doing that, and then my car just kind of gets pushed to like later in the year, or if I should just like not do the dental thing for now and do the car. And to me, it's like I just finished off paying the car, so now I'm kind of like I'm working full time, making full time money, and I don't have any major payments at all. Like I pay for my phone and my phone bill and stuff, which is pretty cheap. And then other than that, I pay food. So like I'm saving more than I've ever saved in my life. Because even before when I was working during university, I had to pay for my tuition and shit.
That's right.
So like now I pay for nothing other than like my car stuff and my phone stuff. So all this extra money that I have, like a lot of it I've been using more on food because I'm like, you know what?
I have more money.
I don't think about it like that.
That's such a detrimental trap, though.
I know. I don't even think about it like that consciously. It's just like when I realize that I have breathing room and I can just like relax and chill and I have like plenty of room, I end up just like playing more. You know?
Yeah. Well, I heard recently, it's funny that you bring that up. I heard recently that it doesn't matter how much money you get if your mentality is like, if your mentality leads you to spend more than what you're making or even like breaking even, then if your money goes up, your spending is going to go up too. Yeah. Like it needs to happen first where your mentality changes kind of thing.
I've seen that with people who are like extremely wealthy. Like I think there was a clip of, you know that guy Fusi Tube? Remember that guy?
Yeah.
There was a clip of him.
I saw a clip of him in Toronto recently.
Really? I saw a clip of him on the H3 podcast, I think. And he was talking about like how when he was rich, he was still like struggling at some point because he would buy like...
Is he not rich right now?
No, he is. But I'm saying like when he kind of like in the height of his stardom like a few years ago, whatever, or maybe before, I don't know when he got really big, but he was buying like sports cars and shit. And there was like pictures of him with like Lamborghinis and Ferraris and all this shit. So like he was spending so much that he was still, I guess he was, I don't know if he was like stressed about it or not, but like you said, it's like if your mentality is that you're going to spend, you know, if you're going to break, if you're
just gonna like go off a whim, like with your desires, just go follow your desires.
Yeah. Kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, to me, it's basically shoes and food. And yeah, that's basically it.
There needs to be some restraint to what you're saying, Patrick, because it's kind of like when people are like, oh, I got this thing 70% off. And it's like your average person, that 30% of the money they saved, they don't save that money. They just go fucking buy something else with it.
Right. Yeah.
Where they're like, well, I was going to spend, you know, $100, but I only spent 70. And instead of like pocketing the 30, it's like, so now I've got 30 to spend on something else. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Spent the fucking
you have no idea. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Should I go or?
You go.
Well, it's going to be a different point if you want to.
No, I was just going to say about like saving money. Like to me, it's like you won't believe the amount of people that are like in my store and they're like arguing for a while between 15% and 20% off, which is like, you know, $5 or whatever. So like Matty's saying, it's like people will like be like, you know, they're saving X amount, but they're actually going to use that $5 on a meal that day or whatever it is. So like it's weird.
Yeah. I was going to say, with regards to spending also on clothes, I feel like I should transition my spending on clothes to like less expensive stores. Like I don't go out and buy designer or whatever, but recently I was at Banana Republic.
You know, I disagree with you. You know why? Because I feel like it's more about like it's a quality versus quantity issue. Like if you want to buy more shit, then like you can buy the cheaper stuff. Like you can go to H&M
but
or just buy a bunch
surely
of
you
stuff.
can optimize.
For sure.
You can
it's
get
not
quality stuff without spending like
100%.
an arm and a leg kind of thing.
100%. But to me, it's like if you had to make the choice of like, do I want to buy shit that's a little bit pricier and like less of it, or, you know, a lot of, you know, cheaper quality stuff. Like to me, it's like, personally, I would go with the more expensive shit just like every once in a while, as opposed to like making it a habit to buy stuff all the time. And then like having to buy cheaper stuff because I can't afford to buy the expensive stuff.
Yeah, but why does it have to be one or the other? Why does it have to be a bunch of cheap stuff or a little thing? Why can't it be in the middle?
Well, but I feel like, it's not black and white, but there's also generally like what would be an in between in your from your perspective? Because like certain brands are just going to be like more expensive than others. So like, how do you kind of reconcile that?
That's right. I mean, it's
like
more.
If you like Banana Republic,
honestly, I've said this multiple times where I want to get to a point where
your own whole closet.
My closet is like that vibe.
Me
Banana
too.
Republic.
I want Zara, Banana Republic. Those are my two. But to me, it's like if I shop there all the time, I'd be broke. So to me, it's but like even if on like in the outlet store, like the Banana Republic outlet store, even when there's like big discounts going on, you're still gonna pay way more than you pay at H&M or something. So to me, it's like you inevitably have to make a choice. Like, am I gonna buy this kind of quality or this kind of quality?
Well, I mean, you know, it's gonna take some looking on my part, but surely there's like lesser known names and like no-name stuff that's like decent quality that you can settle for.
Or clearance. If you go into a store, you get clearance stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's more of a hassle, but thrifting stuff. Yes, it's more of a hassle, but that's also it's an option.
There is ways to do it. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Matty, I'm surprised you didn't. Can I throw you under the bus a little bit here?
Please.
I'm surprised you didn't mention
video games, comic books. Oh my goodness!
This is what I was going to bring up. Where to me, this is where it gets slightly subjective. Well, two things I was going to say about this whole thing. The first thing is like that was another thing I thought of like, well, video games, comic books. But my thing is like,
you don't regret spending that much money on.
But your thing wasn't what do you waste your money on? You said what do you spend your money?
No, but what
I
said and what Matty's going to say, I'm assuming is because I said like too much money on. So Matty's going to be like, oh, what do you mean too much money? Because I like it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Where it's like I don't consider comics and money. Or in video, put it this way, I don't consider comics and video games too much money for two reasons. A, because I can afford it. Like I'm not fucking.
You're a baller.
Look at his sunglasses.
I'm not balling out, but it's like yes, from time to time, like you know, a couple times a month, I can afford to go into the comic book store in town and blow like $40-$50 on like a couple comics. Like that's not, you know. Exactly. I'm basically Jeff Bezos. So it's like there's that, and then the other thing is is like I think about spending too much money for video games in the sense of like where I look at like the backlog of stuff I have to play,
for sure.
And I think about games that like I could have just not bought that game
right now. Because you have like 12 other games.
I have 12 other games I want to play, but like it was on sale and I got it kind of thing.
That's how they get you.
You know what
it is. That's why I'm so glad I'm not a PC gamer on Steam because when they all do all these deals where it's like sales, games for $5 each, it's like I would spend so much money on all these fucking games I would never get.
You know what the thing about that is? It's like it kind of like you're following your emotions, right? Like you're excited about a game in a minute. Like for me, I'll have like again like 12 games, 13, 14 games that are like waiting for me, and then like a new game will come out or like a game that I've been wanting to play is on sale, and like I get excited about it in the moment, and then I just forget everything else.
Thinking about playing the game.
Yeah, exactly. Like even though I was excited about all of those things individually when I got them, and now they kind of just like are collecting dust, and I move on to the next emotional like, oh, that's fun.
And what I was going to say even with that was even with games where it's like I don't buy many games at full price.
Yeah.
With exception. Like Spider-Man 2 when that comes out, that is going to be bought a week before it came out, pre-downloaded on the PlayStation and fucking waiting to go.
Oh my God of War back.
So that like and God of War. Whereas like I'm playing through Dead Space now still and it's taking me so long just cuz like I've been busy and also like I played only a couple hours and then we went away and now that we're back like I'm working my way through it more. Awesome game. But it's like even Dead Space, it's like I waited till Dead Space was like $20 off. So that's the thing where it's like even though I have a lot of games stacked up, if I'm going to buy another one, there is a part of me that's like, I really should just be like saving the money and playing something that I already have like bought and paid for. But the game I'm buying right then with exception is either like a cheaper indie game or something that's on sale. Like it's not $100 full price game. Again, Spider-Man 2 will be that, but that's because it's like 2 or 3 times a year a game comes along where it's like I need to play this immediately. Like I'm buying it full price. I don't care that it's like a lot of money, whatever.
Like it's worth it for you.
It's worth it. And then to the other whole thing about like spending a lot of money on games and comics, it's also like it's just like entertainment and art that I enjoy and like spend a lot of my time engaging in. So to me, it's like I don't consider it
too much.
I don't consider it too much because it's not like on the outside looking in, your shoe thing to me, where you're like, oh, I have like over 20 pairs of shoes. That to me seems like insanity. I'm sure there are people who look at me and be like, you've got like 10 games sitting in your backlog waiting to go. Like that's insanity.
Well, if you told,
but
some,
to me,
if you
it's
told
like
some people that you had like, because like I think in my collection, you check your PlayStation collection, like how
Yes.
many games, like I'm sure you have like triple the amount that I have. I don't think I only have I have like 100 and something or 200 games like total, including free games for my PS4 or whatever. But like I'm guessing you have at least 400 or 500. And
What's
if you
your
told
number, Matt?
If you told people that, I feel like a lot of people would be like, oh, what the hell? And that's why you're saying it's a subjective thing, right?
yes,
like-
I was gonna check like the PlayStation thing on my phone, but we're using mine to record right now.
Well, if you have to
so I
like
can't.
ballpark it.
It's got to be at least like on the low end, maybe like 354, and on the higher end, probably like 550 in terms of just games on the console. But yeah, that's the thing where it's like, it is kind of a subjective thing where it's like, yeah, I don't necessarily consider, again, because it doesn't hurt me financially, and because it's like entertainment and stuff that I enjoy, I don't consider it like too much money on like games and comics and stuff.
Like, what if I posed it like this in terms of like, to me, I've never bought so many shoes that I'm like struggling financially, for example. So like when I say too much, I don't necessarily mean it like too much like if you're going to get financially bankrupt, but too much in terms of like, oh, I could use this on more useful things or productive things.
Sure, I guess in that sense, that argument is true, but then that I feel like is true about everything that's not like either essential to like
food
life,
or
food and drink and shelter and shit like that, or something that's not like a career
move.
like a career move kind of thing. Like then by that, in that sense,
That's a
like
slippery
a lot
slope,
of those things are. What the fuck was I gonna say? I think the difference between me and you two and Malcolm. Oh, by the way, Malcolm's not here.
We said that.
Did we?
No, we didn't.
I don't think we
didn't
mentioned
even, we didn't even mention it.
Well, we didn't even
It's implied, you know.
It's implied,
In
but for
case
those
you
who are
couldn't
new,
figure it out right now. Malcolm's not on this episode.
for those who are new, there's usually a fourth chair here. He is preoccupied.
he
Go
could
on,
not
Matthew.
be here tonight, so I just realized that. But like, I think the difference between the three of you and me is that you three, kind of like Mark was saying, might all collectively be like, we spend too much money on food, for example. Yeah. I feel like the difference between me and you guys is that you guys might spend more money on like things over and over again, or like more often, or on things here and there.
You save up for big
but
things?
I find that I am more guilty of doing like the bigger thing.
Like you're saving for a few months to buy like this huge thing.
Even if it's not saving, like I find that like you guys are, put it this way, let's say you guys are more comfortable with like repeatedly making like a smaller purchase, like buying food way more often than you might need to. Whereas I at times am guilty of like, you know, in a moment's notice, like, drop $200 on this whatever thing. So I feel like there's that too.
You think it kind of, are you implying that it's kind of like,
but you're on vacation.
They're somewhat equal in terms of like, you know, all the little things adding up to like a big purchase?
It depends. Like, if I bought, like I've told you guys before, where it's like I always say like every day I get closer and closer to buying an Xbox, especially with a game like Starfield on the horizon. And it's like,
that's not gonna. Oh yeah, God damn.
That to me is a thing where I think about it, where it's like, yeah, I would like drop.
I don't even know why I'm reacting like that, as if I've played a video game in the past, like other than Smash in the past. I don't know how many months.
I used to play a lot.
Every night, bro.
Patrick, you bitch.
It used to be, but now it's been. I think I'm coming up on like
2 years.
Has it? Like
when
was the last time we had a?
When
was the last time we had a Mortal Kombat?
It's been at least a year, like since last summer that your PlayStation was not working. So
well, yeah, you also have your PS4 is kind of on the fritz.
Yeah,
but that's a perfect example of what I'm saying, where it's like I know there are games you want to play, Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, for examples, where you, I mean, don't want to speak for you too much, but it's like, knowing you the way I think you do, you could go out and buy a PS5.
Would you like me to answer? I don't want to flex on the crowd too much, but
but what I'm saying is that's the difference.
You have
where
more
it's
than
like
$1,000.
you won't make that one-time bigger purchase that I would make, but you guys are more comfortable with making the like repeated.
You're saying we're stupid.
Smaller things. Not necessarily. It's just, I guess it's just a thing of like.
It's different. Yeah,
It's
I
a
get what
different
you're
perspective.
saying.
No, I know.
I look at it the reason I even bring it up is to say like, not that it's better or worse. It's that in terms of like, what do I think I spend money on too much? I don't think there's like one specific thing I spend too much money on. I think it's more a thing of like, there are times every once in a while where I spend a lot of money on one thing that like I arguably didn't need to do.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
Godzilla statue.
But like the radio, the Bluetooth speaker I bought in California, that was like $130 or something US. It's like, that's an example of a thing that it's like, I decided in 10 minutes, basically, like having mulled it over, I was like, I'm going to buy this thing that I didn't really need. But
honestly,
like,
you know,
we're all being Debbie Downers right now. I just want
Sure.
to say a phrase, and maybe this will take us out of this topic, to, I guess, console us. Okay? And this phrase is a truism, and it's going to be true 100 years from now. It was true 100 years ago.
Can you continue setting up the phrase before you say it? It's a little bit longer.
Money comes, money goes.
that's the other thing. Yes, and that's to my point about like, do I think I spend too much money on video games and movies? Not really, because to me, it's also like, it's not. It's kind of the way I think about and the way my dad talks about tipping, where it's like my dad is
Don't even get me started on tipping.
My dad is a very generous tipper, and I like to think I tip pretty good too, kind of thing. And I also think about it where it's like
10%.
if I go to like Osmos, for example, or a lot of takeout places, and I know you and I, Patrick, have discussed this.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that's frustrated when it's like I walk into an Osmos, place an order, and they like the machine has the tip option. That frustrates me because there is a part of me that's like, this isn't what like tipping culture is supposed to be about. But at the same time, 99% of the times I hit the like 15% option or whatever, and I like add $1 to my order.
Oh,
and
that's
to
right.
me, it's just a thing of like, I don't consider that like wasteful spending or a waste of money or, you know, anything like that. Like, it's just this thing of like, it's $1. Like, money comes and money goes.
We're getting into tipping now?
No, it's just I don't even necessarily know why I bring it up. I guess it's also because when you mentioned the like Fousey tube thing and like the rich person thing with like money and stuff, that's a thing too. Where it's like, I mean, we'll get into rich people one day because I want to do that as a topic. But it's this kind of idea where it's like, if you talk to like people who have the most money, but like don't tip, for example, because it's like this attitude of like, no, like it's mine and I have to like accumulate as much money as possible, and that's how they like get uber rich. And then other people look at that and it's like, yeah, these like titans of industry and all that shit. But I'm like,
there's no way you're saying that people get uber rich by not tipping.
No, he's just saying
that
generally.
can't be how someone gets
no.
rich.
No,
He's saying
not
generally they're
that,
very
but I'm
frugal,
saying like
you know?
people in a lot of rich people like that are the kind of people who like
Count pennies.
got to where they were by counting pennies in every aspect.
Okay, you're saying it's the
their life.
mentality of it.
It's the mentality.
Oh, okay.
And then it's more frustrating because then they get to that point where they've got all that money and it's like, well, I'm still not going to, you know, do this or whatever, because it's like,
This is how I got here.
this is how I got here, so I got to like keep doing it and keep going and keep getting, you know,
I think a
more,
lot of them are
more,
probably
more.
paranoid that if they kind of like adopt a charitable mentality in terms of like, oh, I can be looser with my money, then their whole temple's gonna like
Yes,
just get
and
destroyed.
it just tying it back to Mark's topic, it just to me gets the idea again of like, I don't really think there are things I spend too much money on, and it's like you said, money comes and money goes kind of thing. So it's like,
But I like the way you do it, by the way, because to me it's like it's more interesting and more valuable to your life to get stuff that's like bigger things or bigger purchases that are personal to you or that are like a memory for you or something like that, as opposed to
Sure.
like buying McDonald's 10 times.
sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
that is where I do think about it sometimes. Like in your case, for example, Patrick, again, tomorrow you could walk to a fucking Walmart and buy a PlayStation if you want. But I know you, and knowing you, and that you are more like not wanting to do the like bigger purchases that, let's say, don't necessarily need to be done. Then there are times where I think about it where I'm almost just like, if you would just like,
don't go to McDonald's.
if
10
you would
times.
just like not eat out for like 2 weeks, the money you would spend eating out could easily like pay for half a thing, like half a PlayStation, and then you would just have to like shell out the other
Dude,
like
dude, even my
half of the money in that.
even my
thing.
calculation of like if I spend like $20 a day 5 days a week, which is a lot, that's like, you know, basically like what, 2 weeks 2 weeks to make like, oh, how much did I say a week?
I said 20 by 5.
So 100.
Yeah.
So 100 times. So basically in a month you could afford half a PlayStation or whatever.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
for example.
So it's like, I don't know. It's just different strokes for different folks.
But then at the same time, I'm going to close it on this.
Okay.
At the same time, even though I just said that I feel like I like the way you do it more, when I'm really hungry, there's nothing that makes me happier in the moment. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's kind of like,
Honestly, part of it too is
it's immediate pleasure
we
versus
always-
delayed pleasure,
Yes.
right?
honestly, I like going out to eat with you guys, especially because we always have some sort of
It's an
conversation.
experience.
But
We're
I don't
always-
mind. But there's a difference.
Like
to
at
me.
Ivy Arms the other night, I hadn't laughed like
Oh,
that
we were-
in
yeah, it was
so
amazing.
long. What was
Yes.
the joke even that we were laughing
I think we were
at?
talking about. Fuck, what were we talking about? Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it was it was about the
the
death
switch,
penalty.
the kill switch. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
the kill switch. That's right.
But that's the thing where it's like I don't
Coming
mind
right
going
up.
out and spending money when it's like we're going for like food, like at a restaurant or a bar, like a meal.
You're
but
talking
to
about
me,
like
it's
ordering
what
by
I'm saying
yourself.
is like
Something?
ordering by yourself, or just even when we are together and it's like we're getting Dawn's for some reason, or we're just watching a movie. Like that's the kind of thing that like I don't get. I get us being like we're going out to dinner. I don't get.
But you don't get the excitement of like all four of us like hanging out and we're about to watch a movie and then we're like, should we just go to McDonald's? And everyone's like hype.
The thing is
it's
like
fun and whatever, but it's
the
also
the
like
thing is I don't think he gets it because he doesn't like starve himself ever. Like I have been on this wave of like not really eating as much as I should be.
I never eat breakfast.
So, like,
to me, it's like by the time it's like midday, I'm like I haven't eaten shit. So
Yeah.
like, I'm assuming you're doing the same thing.
Yeah,
Similar
basically
things.
what the point I was gonna get to was
Sorry, yeah.
no,
No, go ahead.
I didn't
yeah.
say that.
I understand.
Okay.
But I just feel like I interrupted.
No, you're good. What was I saying?
You were saying like in terms of starving yourself. Or
Oh yeah. So, but any meal is exciting to me because like I'm hungry kind of thing. I'm almost always hungry.
That's
So
right. So I think it's more of like a diet issue as opposed
It's
to
a
like
diet issue.
your general mentality.
it's a diet issue.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Anyway, well, thanks for that conversation, boys. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it because like on my way here, I was like, I feel like I'm spending too much recently on food. So
Yeah.
it was on my mind, but yeah,
Okay.
cool.
So, I want to ask you guys a question, and it's gonna require you guys to
Think
maybe
hard.
be a little creative, not think hard,
Mm,
but be realistic.
sure.
Okay, I don't want extravagant answers here. I want your ideal first dates. What are you guys
cool.
doing on your ideal first date? And if you
I
guys
like
need
that.
some time to think, I can tell you guys what I prefer to do on a first date.
I'd like you to start.
Yeah, I'd like you to start as well because I
Okay.
have a couple of things going through my head. But
So the details around this main event can vary. We're also going to get into other stuff other than first dates. We'll start off with first dates though. So this main thing, it can have other stuff sprinkled in, but it's going to be eating at a restaurant is my ideal first date for two main reasons. One, the girl needs to see me eat. I'm not always listen, I'm not always the
Elegant.
thank you. That's a great word.
If
I'm
we-
not always the most elegant consumer of food, and if she can get past, not only do I need to be eating, but ideally it should be wings. It should be
Right.
ribs,
Okay,
right?
can I say something?
Yeah.
I feel like there's this whole idea of Patrick being built that he's like a messy eater, where I think I'm more messy than you are. Like,
You think so?
yeah, when I watch you eat,
Yeah.
it's never like shit all over your face or like
It's-
dripping all over. Like to me, if you look at me after I'm like in the middle of eating wings, if you guys happen to look over at me, I have like shit all over my lips and my cheek, and then I also have like 3-4 napkins because I use too many napkins. I have a problem with that. Like I just like
you
after
do.
every
You have a huge problem with
yeah
that.
after
So
after
many
like every bite I'm like
napkins.
wiping my hand. It's like I feel like a pig and I look like a pig. So to me,
I
it's like I don't
feel-
know why people are like.
But
more
with
like,
Patrick, it's not even so much a mess thing. It's almost like I don't even know how to describe
pace?
it. Yeah, it's like a pace. It's just he's very like. It's not elegant the way he eats, and it's not that it's messy on the opposite side. It's just he's like the Terminator, where there's just
a
like
mission,
an
dude.
efficiency there, where it's like like it's a mission. Like there's almost times where I'm almost like I'm somebody who I think eats relatively quickly too. But like there are times where I almost want to look at Patrick and be like,
Slow
just
down,
like,
dude.
Like enjoy it a little more.
you know what I'm thinking? To me, it's like I'll see him. He'll take a spoonful of rice, for example. He'll start chewing, and then before he's done chewing, he'll take another
the
spoonful.
next one's already in.
So it's like there's never a time where he's swallowed.
I like how you're saying
Fully.
he as if I'm not sitting right in front of you.
You.
yeah, we're just talking like
Yeah,
Patrick's
yeah.
not
Yeah,
right
yeah.
here.
Let's go on.
So
Anyways.
that's one of the bigger points. Go out to eat. Ideally, it's not always the case that I'll go for wings, but ideally it's some maybe messier food. But even if it's not a messier food, they see it, like you said, the pace of my eating. That's the first hurdle this girl needs to be able to
I thought you were also going to
jump.
mention. Okay, you keep going.
Let
Actually.
me keep going. The second big thing for me is talking.
Conversation.
I
That's
get
what
to
was gonna
have
say.
a proper conversation with this girl. I get to learn about her.
That's right.
For me, people who say, "Oh, our first
A
date's going to
movie?
be at the movies."
Mm.
Now, Matty, you might very well say this, but I'm gonna assert now, it's madness from the perspective of, am I going to get to know this person?
The only way I think a movie date works is if you have
Other
if you're
things.
doing something after.
Yep.
Like if
it's paired.
if you like, let's say if we were going to the theater in Oakville, Mississauga, wherever the fuck there. If we were going to the Winston Churchill Theater, like if I was going with a girl on a first date to the Winston Churchill Theater, if it was like we're gonna see the movie and then go to Dimitri's right after and like get an ice cream or something, that to me I think would be okay because it's like we just watched the movie and I know people say this where it's like now we have something in common instantly to talk about. And we're sitting here just like eating an ice cream and whatever the fuck. Like that I think is doable. But if your first date was purely just like I'm going to meet you at the theater, we're watching the movie, and then going home, that is madness.
That is absolute madness. But yeah, so those are the two main things for my ideal first date.
Sure.
As to why I would pick a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now that I've sort of given my pick, you guys can enlighten me now.
I can go ahead, Matty, if you don't mind.
Please.
So I was kind of struggling. I mean, when you mentioned the topic, movie was a part of mine, but now I've kind of completely switched, and I think I like the idea of like doing an activity together as opposed to like being in a place together. And like to me, I don't think of eating as like an activity. I'm talking like active things,
like mini golf, for example.
Like mini golfing. What I was gonna say, and you guys know I'm going right after this. Actually, like bowling / arcade to me is like almost perfect because you have that conversational time. Like, you know, the thing about bowling though is that one person's bowling, the other person's sitting, so there's not much overlap. But like, let's say you're doing the arcade thing, you're playing a game together, you're laughing, you're having fun, you're both having fun together, and you're able to like, you know, talk in between arcade machines or talk while you're shooting a basketball or talk while you're doing a gun game and like laugh and make jokes and whatever. So to me, it's like you're having fun, but you're also able to talk. With food, I like going to a restaurant, but the problem is I feel like I eat pretty quickly and I'm like, you know, excited to eat. So I feel like I don't have that much. My ability to stop, have a full-on conversation is not fluid. I feel like it's kind of like awkward and choppy where I'm just like eating, they're waiting, and then they're eating, and then I'm waiting. It's like the sync up is kind of hard. But if you're both like, you know, at the arcade doing something like skee ball or whatever, like you can both talk, laugh, whatever, you know?
I hear that, yeah.
So to me, I think, I don't know the specific answer, but I know that it's like an activity-based thing. And so I'll say, for example, the arcade. That's like my pick.
Your ideal first date,
Yeah.
okay.
With regards to myself and first dates, I think I mentioned this kind of last week when we
bedroom.
talked about the bedroom. Yeah, well, that's the obvious answers. There better be some
Straight to the bedroom.
There better be some like
Straight
hardcore rated R fucking
Oh, God.
this first date.
Oh my god.
No, but like because I mentioned this last week when we were talking about the whole exes thing for your topic, Patrick. Which, by the way, good topic. I was like
That was a fun
editing
one.
it. I was like, that's like
I can't wait to listen back to it.
40-minute like good ass topic.
Yeah.
But where I kind of mentioned where it's like I don't really have a lot of dating experience, so I can think in my head of I can picture in my head 3 first dates that I have been on. And when I think about the one that I liked the most, see, because you guys are talking about like what you're doing on the date, and I think that's good too, but mine's slightly more philosophical, is I think the best first date I've had of the 3 was Varsh and I's first date.
I was waiting for you to say another name other than Varsh. I was like, oh my god, he's going to be in so much shit.
But what I think helps with that being a really good first date is
I just hope you know that Mark and I don't know the first date, and the audience also doesn't know what the hell you guys do on the first date. Oh, okay.
Also, can I just say, you have more first dates than me, I think. I've only ever had 2 first dates, because I've only ever been in 2 relationships.
I guess, yeah, that.
And I don't think I've ever been on,
Have you ever been with a girl who you didn't get into a relationship with?
Kinda, but it was never like, oh, this is a date. It was always kind of like, we like talking, we're gonna go hang out. It was kind of more like a friend thing, and maybe we'll, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever like, I've never done the whole Tinder thing of like, let's meet up and go on a date. I've never set that up before. Yeah. So to me, it's like been the 2 relationships, but it doesn't matter. Whatever. Go ahead.
Now, you guys might not like what I'm about to say and think I'm blaspheming against your topic, but the first thing that I think made it my favorite first date was that neither one of us really knew it was our first date.
Okay.
Which might sound kind of antithetical to...
That's what happened to me, by the way.
Yes, and for Varsh and I, it's like... Because I've talked to her about this since then, where it's like... So basically what it was it was the first time her and I were hanging out, just us together. We went to the art gallery in Toronto and spent like a few hours there, and then went and got like dinner and whatever after. And I like...
How is that not... I'm sorry, how is that not like... how did you both not feel like this is probably a date? Because you're going to a dinner and...
Well, because it was the thing where like This was after like a couple times we had hung out with like other groups, and where like I know I talked to you guys at the time, where like I kind of got the inclination that like maybe there was something, you know, going on between us, kind of thing that would be like worth following through on. And that's the thing where it's like I've talked to her about it since then, where it's like I look at that as our first date, and I don't even know if she did necessarily, because I'm like, it was you and me like hanging out for the first time ever, just us, like really kind of getting to know each other and going for dinner and everything after. So it's like, to me, it's like, isn't that a date kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like, irregardless even of the activities, but even the activities, we hung around at the art gallery all day, then we walked and got like dinner and like, you know, all that kind of shit. So it's like we did an activity and dinner. I'm like, isn't that a first date kind of thing? And I guess you could make the argument it's like we were friends at that point, so it could have just been like a friend hangout kind of thing.
No, but that's not really a friendly.
There was a different air about it, you know? So in terms of what makes a good date, I think that was the first thing, is that not even really knowing that it was our first date, because it immediately removed any pressure, any awkwardness, any weirdness, because like we're not here under the assumption that it is a date. We're here under the assumption that we're hanging out, and maybe kind of like the subtext under the surface is that like
we'll see,
or it's sort of a date, or there's something going on here. But it wasn't just this thing really in either of our heads. So I think that's the first thing that helped.
That's really sweet.
Thank you. The second thing
Cute.
for a very good first date, and what makes it the best, is that we were friends who had known each other for years. And I think that also instantly...
Isn't that the most ideal circumstance?
Yeah, well, you're asking me about ideal dates, so I'm just giving you the facts.
Is actually having a connection with someone right away.
Because this is the thing. I think about the other two dates, the other two first dates. The one, let's say, in the middle, which there was nothing wrong with it, like it was actually fun and pleasant, was me and this other girl, the one I talked about not too long ago, who like ended up going out for like kind of a couple months. And that was one where like we had sort of started off by like texting each other, sort of getting to know each other, like figuring out that we had like similar interests and all that stuff. And we sort of like hit it off there first, then sort of like, you know, planned a date, whatever, and then went on the first date, and it was just dinner. Like, and that was it. It was just dinner. But it was like really nice, and it was a good time and whatever.
No bedroom. No bedroom.
No bedroom. No bedroom.
That's unfortunate.
But that at least was like, we kind of knew each other, even though it was only a couple days beforehand.
What was that?
I heard my mom yelling. I was like, please, God, don't keep yelling. They have a
I
habit.
see.
If no one responds to them, they keep yelling, my parents.
Bless your parents. Thank you for letting us film in your house.
Also,
Mr.
your
and
birds
Mrs.
are they're going at it.
Oh, my God. I keep forgetting my
That's
bird,
okay.
bro.
It's better because Patrick called me this morning on the phone, and his fire alarm needed the batteries changed. So the whole time we were on the phone, it was every 5 seconds, just, whoop, whoop. And at one point, I was like, hey, you know we've got a show to record tonight, right? I was like, you might want to like take care of that.
Yeah.
And because even somebody at work was like, oh, would you like edit out all the bleeps or whatever?
My
I was like,
God.
no. I was like, I would leave every single one in, and that would just be like the joke of the episode is that the fire alarm's going off. But anyways, when I think about my least favorite of the 3 first dates, it's a thing where it's like, it's those factors set up against me, where it's like we were both there knowing it was a first date. So I didn't get the sense that she felt like either way about it. But for me, it was more of like a pressure thing of like, this is a date. Like I'm trying to like,
You don't have ice in your veins.
I don't necessarily have ice in my veins. And I was cracking under pressure
That
a little
pisses
bit.
me off. Ice in the veins.
That
Get the fuck
phrase?
outta here.
I love that phrase, bro.
I think it's-
I have
I
ice
like
in
it.
my veins.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't know,
phrase.
just from an athletic perspective.
And the other thing was we did not know each other at all. Like we just kind of bumped in. It was, long story short, it was basically like a setup through a friend.
Dude, I can't wear this shit anymore. I'm sorry.
He's taking off the
Aw,
shades.
come on, Mark. The clips, bro.
It is what it is.
A friend.
I'm not gonna make a clip. The only clips that are gonna be made are when
First
we've
topic.
had.
That's fine. I'm
the
gonna
first
stop
topic.
trying now.
A friend of mine and her girlfriend, like she basically kind of set the two of us up on this first date kind of thing. But it was like we didn't know each other, and it was so it was
Oh, yeah, I
the
remember that shit.
opposite. Yes, it was the opposite of the two factors that I think worked for Varsha and I's day, where it was just, and on top of that, it wasn't that it was a bad date. If anything, I fumbled the bag a little bit more because I was
Call
not
back.
I was not the most talkative. Like I was a little more like quiet and kind of like
What do you mean?
reserved.
You were eating, but you were just like not talking most of the time.
I think it was more
It's hard to imagine you not
talking, right?
Yeah, how
I
funny-
know
how
that's the
funny-
irony
You have
of
such
it.
a mouth on
Yeah,
you.
but how
dog.
funny is that image of like him? Like let's say they were like sitting down eating for like 45 minutes, and like he's just like Like looking, like he's just looking at his food,
giving her the one-liners.
What it was is just that, like, I think I was just a little nervous, like, to be quite frank with you. But the other thing was that, like, I personally found her, like, funny and really engaging, and she was just kind of like telling me like college stories or like about stuff going on in her life. It was honestly a thing where I was just more kind of like
in your head about it.
I was just more like I cared about what she had to say more than what I had to input, kind of thing. Like I was just more genuinely curious about, like, I'd rather hear her talk than like me talk about myself or like my stories, kind of thing, which I think in my head, well, I didn't even really think about it. It was more like afterwards, like when there was no second date, where it was kind of a thing of like, oh, I was probably like too quiet and like she didn't really get to like know me or like feel me out in any kind of way.
But do you know that for sure? Is that just like your assumption?
I think it's part assumption, part I know, because again, a friend of her and I's set us up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like I talked.
Oh, wait, the girl in Toronto?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
so I talked. I talked to
the girl from Toronto.
Yeah.
Isn't she older than you too, though?
I thought she was around the same age.
No, it might maybe a year older, but that's
nothing
it
significant.
wasn't like anything significant.
For girls, that's significant, I think.
But
what do you mean?
So
If the girl's older by a year, it's significant.
For most girls, I think yes.
Why is that?
There's no rhyme or reason to that statement. It's just something that I feel to be true.
Patrick's
I could be wrong.
Oh, I see.
Patrick's painting with his broad brush.
I am painting with my
But
broad
what about
brush.
if you're both like, you know?
And that's also just some context. That's not to say that there are girls who don't do it.
No,
like
for sure.
I know girls who date guys who are
But to me-
who are dating guys that are younger.
But to me, that difference is more pronounced when you're kind of like in school, I guess. But like if you're both like graduated and you're both
No.
adults
But
living
I
your-
think for girls, I think that age difference
matters no matter what.
consideration persists as they like.
So like
I don't think
28 versus 27. You feel like a lot of girls would be like,
that's actually a good point. Maybe you're right as they get older, but I think
it's like a teenage.
I think like
thing.
if we're gonna like plot two curves,
yeah,
like for guys it gets less important much quicker than for girls. I think.
Sure. But anyways, so yeah, like I kind of talked to our friend about it, and like she sort of just relayed to me of like, yeah, I think maybe she got the vibe that you were just like maybe that even I wasn't interested because I wasn't engaging as much.
Was she taller than you?
No, but here's the thing.
Not from what I remember. No.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't like that because I feel like you expressed that you wanted to see her again or that you were open to it. So the idea of like, oh, she didn't feel like you were interested. It's like,
oh,
bullshit,
that's a
I'm
load
asking
of
you
that's
to
a
go
load of
out.
BS.
This is also true, yes,
has to be
because
a load of
again,
BS.
I had expressed interest of like, not like super like direct or anything. Well, direct's the wrong word. Not just like overbearing. I was just more like, hey, like I had fun. Like if you want to hang out,
doesn't
again
that grind
sometime,
your gears?
let me know.
My
What?
assumption.
That's a BS excuse.
To me, it was just a thing of like I don't really care because I was just like, she's not interested. Like whatever kind
Yeah,
of
but
thing.
to me, I don't like
whatever answer she gave, even if it's like I doubt the validity of it. It's like I don't.
But doesn't it annoy you?
care.
Again, like Patrick's saying, doesn't it annoy you that she was like not?
She's
you
trying
know,
to put
she
it
wa-
on you.
She wasn't courageous enough to be like, you know what, I wasn't interested.
But that's like
and-
gaslighting. Like she's putting it on you. Like,
Yeah, like
like
something
we're not
you
going to
did.
go out again because like he doesn't seem interested.
I think
like
a lot of
what?
I think a lot of people fear, like they fear being honest and like making someone sad. So they're just kind of like sugarcoat it and be like, oh, I thought you weren't interested. Oh well.
Sure. To give them some benefit of the doubt, it could also be a thing of like, well, I don't want to say and like hurt this guy's feelings of like, I'm not interested, so I'm just gonna say something about like X, Y, or Z reason. Like it could be that thing too, but I don't know. Regardless. Anyways, to the point of first dates. So that's my thing in terms of first dates. I agree with what you guys are saying. We mentioned the movie thing. I think doing an activity like.
So what was your
March
ideal
9th,
first date again?
I think going with somebody that I know these are like very specific circumstances,
Okay.
but to me it's like going with somebody that you have
A friendship.
some sort of like for Varsh and I it was years of friendship, but even the kind of middle of the 3 dates.
But what's the
let's say,
setting though? Like what's the
He
setting?
doesn't need to give us.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what I'm
That's
saying.
his
Was like
answer.
I'm
Yeah.
less
painting a
worried.
general picture.
Yeah.
I'm more thinking about it in like less the like actual literal what are we doing and more the philosophical sense of like
Okay.
being with somebody that again even in the middle scenario date where we had only known each other a couple days before the first date, but the fact that there was some sort of like the fact that the ice had already been broken was a major thing because the one date that was kind of like my least favorite of the three where it was like having to break the ice on that date was just not ideal for me. And then the other thing being like, yeah, when you're having, again, I know this sounds stupid, but it's like going on a first date without like explicitly stating like this is a first date and we're here to do this and see if it goes anywhere. Like being able to do it in a more like natural without feeling like you like are being watched or you need to like, be performative in any way.
Can I play devil's
kind of
advocate
thing.
here? Because I get what you're
Please.
saying and I agree with you, but at the same time, to me, it's like the kind of hard part about this activity is trying to figure out what kind of date is perfect for breaking that awkward first ice. But you're saying like you don't want there to be an awkward like breaking the ice or whatever situation. Like you want to just be like, the person, you're kind of already comfortable with them. That's the kind of vibe. But I'm saying like if I had to pull you out of that and be like, no matter what, this person's like it's a true first date. You don't know this person. It's just like a setup situation. In that case, to you, what's like your perfect date that's going to break that awkward, feeling? Because to me, that's what the quintessential like. Oh, what's the perfect first date? We said no movies because with someone that you don't know, you want to get to know them, and movies doesn't give you that opportunity. You already know this person, so
imagine a madman saying concert.
no, but you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's like if Matty was saying with someone like he already knew, a first date being a movie would be a great choice because you already know each other. You don't have to like learn more about each other. You're just enjoying the movie, and then maybe you're talking about it afterwards. But for like a first date of like this person you don't really know that well, I think it changes things. So like if you had to
Sure.
go there, what would you do?
In that instance, my answer would be just more similar to what you guys said, where it would be, doing some kind of activity, whether it's something maybe more competitive, like, oh, we're going to bowl or mini golf or go to an arcade or something, or something a little more laid back,
Can you pick just
Like
like,
the
one answer,
the
though?
bedroom.
like the
He
bedroom.
picked arcade.
Literally laid back.
He picked arcade. Can you pick an answer?
So you picked what, Patrick?
I picked
Dinner.
dinner. I picked restaurant.
A lot of people are gonna have I think they're gonna disagree with you.
Really?
I think I've heard that like the dinner first. I've heard that the two worst is like dinner and movie, because dinner people think about like you're eating, it's kind of awkward, you don't know when to jump. Like I've heard that from people before of like you don't like eating around someone they don't really know.
Yeah.
And I've also but movies is like unanimously the worst that I've heard from people.
I hear you. Yeah.
Dinner's good.
You're gonna pick
Dinner
dinner.
is-
You gotta pick something
No.
different than me.
You want what, like one definitive thing?
I just want. Mark said he said activity, but he went arcade for example.
My final answer is arcade. I was gonna say bowling.
I got it.
Yes.
I was gonna say bowling / arcade, but bowling again. The problem is, if it's a one-on-one bowling thing, like it should be a
You
date.
could show her how to swing the ball though.
No, but to me it's like, okay, let's say you do that.
Your swing always
crisp, huh?
baffles me.
Yeah.
When we go bowling, you weren't with us the most recent time. When we go bowling, he's like, how do I describe this? He's light on his feet, but with his fingers. Whenever he goes to swing the ball, there is not a sound in the bowling alley. He goes, the ball touches the ground, and you would never have known he made a swing.
Right.
You would have never have known if it were
if
if it were not for the pins rattling. You would not have known that he threw the ball.
Dude,
I'm
you know-
telling you.
You know what I have to add to my skill set is like the curve. Like I have to learn how to fucking like hit that shit good, and then it like goes to the right, and you think it's gonna go into the gutter, and then it curves right into the middle.
Last second.
Like that's what I want to do. I've seen people do that before, and it's crazy. Yeah. Also, like Vanya knows how to do that somehow. Like somehow she like sometimes
Curve?
she throws it, but the way she releases it, it kind of like has a side spin on it,
Yeah,
and it kind of like ends up slightly curving.
I see.
I'd like to see you win a game of bowling, though.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Just to bring.
Okay,
just
so
to
what's
bring
your
it back
thing?
down
What's your
to
answer?
earth. Honestly,
My head's getting too big with bowling.
Ground him.
I honestly think what I'll toss out is something, an activity, not a competitive thing, but something like the Go or the ROM or Ripley's. Something where you're just kind of like
Pick one.
walking around. Like, they're all the same thing.
Pick
You know
one.
what
The ROM.
Here's what I see.
A museum?
Sure.
Okay, finally. Like, why is it that I have to tug your leg for this?
Here's what I'm saying though.
Audience,
Here we go.
leave a comment as to whose first date you think is the best. Mark's was an arcade, Matthew's museum, mine was dinner at a nice
I
restaurant.
can't have dinner.
That's all I wanted to do, man.
I can't have dinner.
The
and an
topic
arcade
literally
or
could have been Matty
museum.
going, I'd say probably museum.
Exactly. But it was a whole.
But here's the thing about
conversation.
I'm gonna push back a little bit, unless we want to completely get off this now. But to
No,
me,
go
it's
for
like
it.
my thing about a museum or something like that is it's too passive. Like you're both walking around, so there's still gonna be that awkward like you're walking, like oh look at that, and then you kind of
What?
like talk about it. But then
People
you kind
can walk and talk. You can't talk and chew gum at the same time.
no, but then it doesn't. I feel like unless you're
It's
if-
literally the exact
Let me
same
say-
thing as what you said with the arcade.
I know,
Between
I know.
arcade machines, you guys
no,
can
no,
talk.
but
and-
arcade is way more active. Like you're doing something together. Like you're doing something like physically. And but to me, it's like the problem I see for myself. I'm not saying it with everybody.
Yeah.
Is that if I'm not comfortable with someone and I'm trying to get to know them and stuff, the most awkward thing is to have like super quiet time of just like them and I having to like talk it out. And to me, the museum is like, I guess if you're both like super big art people, then that's different because maybe you have like background knowledge. You can talk about what you know about it, what you like about it, whatever. But to me, it's like I don't even know what to say looking at a painting. Oh yeah, I like that. And they'd be like, I like that.
You have no.
And then
You're exposing yourself for having no taste.
Uncultured.
Uncultured.
No, but they'd be like, oh yeah, I like it too. And I'd be like, yeah. and then what would you do? What would we do?
No, but what I'm saying is, it obviously is case dependent. And it's dependent on the person. But to me, at least, if you're walking around at like the ROM, for example, to me, what's nice about that is that you're kind of just walking and talking, like you're sort of like soaking the shit in while you're there. And it depends on the person because it's like. To me, it's like you could be walking around with a girl at say on a first date at the ROM, for example, and you might walk by a thing and she might be like, oh, like that's a really cool, like fucking Aries
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
And you go, no, it isn't.
And but then it could be a thing of like, oh, like the Aries statue, like you kind of like the shit, and then it's like, oh yeah, like I'm a huge Greek mythology nerd, and it's like, oh, like I'm a Greek mythology nerd too. Like I feel like at least the advantage of, let's say, in a museum, for example,
Topics?
is that it gives you like all these different little primers of like
You're a
history,
Greek mythology
art,
nerd?
dinosaurs, whatever. Like it gives you anthropology, like it gives you all these little.
Matty wants to punch you so bad right now.
You're a Greek mythology nerd?
I would say so.
Name the three-headed dog.
Cerberus.
Yup, yes. That's
So
the
it's
quintessential
like, that's the question
question.
to figure out if you're into it or not. So it's like I feel like
you walk up to her, name the three-headed dog.
yeah, exactly. Where it's like to push
You
back.
challenge her. She says, "I like Greek mythology," and you immediately
Start
challenge.
calling her out.
And she goes, who are you? You know, you didn't even introduce yourself yet.
She's like, why'd you just walk
Yeah.
up to me? But it's like to push back on your thing a bit then with the arcade or whatever. It's like that to me, I feel like in terms of what you're saying about like the awkwardness of the conversation, that there's no
Topic?
jumping off point with the arcade. It's literally just like we're here
You know what it
playing the
is?
game, and you could like if you were like doing mini golf, let's say, and like you blow a shot kind of thing, and she like giggles and whatever, then you can be like, ah, haha, I messed up the shot. or whatever.
Honestly?
and like you can talk about.
here's what I'm gonna say,
You can
though.
talk about
I need
the
to jump in
activity.
first.
No. I need to retort.
You can talk
I need to
about
add something though.
No.
Sorry.
you could talk about the activity that you're doing in the moment, but there aren't as many primers where to me it's like Ripley's, the Ago, the ROM. Like there are constant little primers
Yeah.
for like conversations or interests or ideas, like all these little threads that you can pull at that are naturally there that neither one of you has to force.
No, for sure. And I like that. But to me, it's like the problem with the arcade, the problem that you're
Claiming is there.
Yeah, for the arcade, what I think it's to me, it's more about getting comfortable with a person
Sure.
as opposed to like having something to talk about. To me, it's like it's such a fun environment, and you're both like laughing, you're both whatever, and I think that like natural like like we're both having a good time and we can relax now. Then maybe in a further date, then you can actually start having full-on conversations because you feel kind of natural around each other now because you had that whole arcade day where you just like got loose.
Now this could be detrimental for you because
Oh, wow.
I feel
I also
like
have a detrimental point.
You guys shut the fuck.
I feel like because your answer ended up being activity, but like games. Matthew's is activity, but like art, for example, like art gallery, museum.
Yeah,
Ripley's.
just like
The
doing the thing
detrimental aspect to yours is the competitive nature.
Oh, that's not where I was going to
Well, it depends on who you are.
It depends on who it is, but I feel like things could get sour real quick if
She's like beating your ass.
things could get
Every
sour.
mini golf hole, it's hole in one, hole in one, hole in one. You're like,
she's
four,
like, oops.
You're like 4 over par and
Yeah.
snapping your like stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's
Now
like,
I
I'm
don't.
very
I don't want to speak for you, but I perceive you as a competitive
I'm very
person,
competitive.
and I feel like things could get uncomfortable real quick if like you're rubbing it in her face that you're beating her a little too much, or if she's beating you,
Okay,
or if
you
she's beating you, and it's the
Yeah,
case
yeah,
where
yeah.
like you feel maybe belittled,
Here's what I'm gonna
or
say. Yeah.
I don't want to get. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to necessarily use the word emasculated.
Sure.
But like depending on the activity.
I understand.
Yeah.
The point to me though is like I would have to like know I would have to like generally I'm taking a risk, right? Like you're saying, I'm taking the risk 'cause I don't know the person. But at the same time, to me, it's like if I don't like a certain thing that people do, like I don't think I ever do. Do you guys feel like I brag too much if I win? I don't think I do. Like even when I win something, I'm not
To
like
be honest,
I'm not like in the face the whole time.
Any one of us has a like
Bracket-
sore
yeah.
winner problem.
Only-
I think
only
all 4
when
of
I'm
us
trying to
have
rub it-
sore
Loser.
loser
We
problem.
all have it.
So that's what I'm saying. To me, it's like I'm not gonna. I kind of, in that sense, I'm treating the person how I want them to treat me. If I'm win, I'm gonna try to be humble about it. Like, oh, whatever, it's no big deal. Like, whatever. I'm not gonna try to be like, oh, like you suck or whatever. Because if they do that to me, I'm gonna be pissed off.
Yeah.
So I think, based on most normal people, if I'm putting out the message that hey, I'm not gonna be an asshole about this, they're gonna be nice and they're not gonna be an asshole as well.
To be honest.
So if the person's super annoying about it, then I'm probably not gonna want to see them again anyway.
I hear you.
So it's not the arcade's fault. It's the person's fault for not understanding that they should be like.
The other detriment thing I was going to bring up with the
Here we
arcade
go.
thing is because you mentioned the idea of like it's getting comfortable with the person. Let's say it's sort of like it's a good icebreaker in the sense of like you can sort of maybe let your guards down a bit and you don't have to focus so much on like the talking and getting to know them, and you can focus more on just like the sheer fun of it. That I think makes sense. It's a double-edged sword though, because it could be the thing of like I might know at the end of my ROM date, let's say, for example, of like, wow, we had nothing to talk about. Or like when we walked by the fucking T-Rex and she
So
was
what?
like, oh my God,
He's right.
I love the
No, he's not.
Stegosaurus.
He's absolutely
You know why
right.
he's
Like
not?
frustrates me. Whereas your date, you might have a really good time because you were doing a game and
But
be
you
like,
don't
I want to
know
see
about
this.
This is interesting. I just want to encapsulate what you're saying
your
here.
hands
This
are
is
so sweaty.
I know. I don't
Mine
know.
are-
I don't know why they're so sweaty. What Matty's trying to get at here is, so we were just looking at first dates in the lens of, okay, how can I get to know the person?
I didn't say that. I said breaking the ice is how. A good first date to me is more about breaking the ice.
Sure, breaking the ice, whatever it may be, but we never entertained the idea of the
Second?
litmus test. How can we test whether or not this person is?
Well, it depends on how you view a first date. If you view
Yeah.
a first date as like this is a litmus test, then yeah, he's right. But I don't view it as like I'm gonna figure out if I'm gonna be with this person for more time. I don't think about it like that. I think about it like
you have such little respect for your time.
no. I'm saying okay, but think about it like this: the arcade's a perfect date because you have fun, you relax, you get loose around each other. All good. You don't know them yet as much, but then the second date, then at that point you're already comfortable. So the first date, it did its job. It made you comfortable around each other. Now the second date is like maybe a more conversational one. And if you don't like the person, boom, you only wasted 2 dates as opposed to 1 date. So you're not saving that much, That's what I'm saying. To me, it's
Okay.
like it still serves its function for me because I'm not thinking about it like this first date. The purpose of this first date is to figure out if I really like this person because it's not. To me, it's like I asked them out because I asked them out. Think about this. Why did you fucking ask them out in the first place? Like, to me, I'm not going to just walk up to a girl who I think is attractive and like, oh, let's go out on a first date. I'm going to ask them out because I've already gotten to know them through a friend group or I know of them and I like them so far. And I'm just going to get comfortable around them first. The first date did its thing. Second date, then we get deeper.
Sure.
think-
I just
I
want to
don't
toss
want to
out.
get deep first thing.
But I also will toss out. I don't think there's anything wrong with the like activity date.
Sure.
Like to me, if I was gonna go on a first date with a girl, and it's like we're doing mini golf or an arcade. I have zero problem with that. It's just purely for like the
argument of it.
just the fun of like the argument of, or it's like to me, it's like I could see those deleterious effects. Whereas to me, the date like I'm proposing of like we're going to the ROM, that to me gives you the advantage of like getting to know this person, having all these multiple like jumping off points and threads that you can both pull at, and it doesn't like at the very least at the end of that date you would have an idea one way or the other if you're into this person or not.
I'm going to play devil's
but you
advocate one more time here. Sorry to cut you
Please.
off there.
against him.
Do it.
Against him this time, yeah.
Oh,
God.
whoa.
To be quite honest, I've lived that date a couple times.
You don't
Sure.
like it?
And there isn't as many threads as you think.
That's what I'm saying.
There
dude.
really isn't
you know
as
what I
many
think would
threads of
happen?
conversation
You know what I
as
would
you
happen
think.
for me?
You end up talking more about
Other things.
stuff unrelated to what
That's
you're
right.
doing than you actually do.
You know
with-
why? Because to me, it's like
Yeah.
it's limited to me because I don't know much about art. It would be limited to like, oh, that's pretty cool, and they'd be like, yeah, that's cool. Like I like this part of it. I'm like, yeah, I like that part of it too. And then we walk around a little bit, and then I kind of like look around because it's kind of awkward. Like it would be that for me because you know what? I'm not comfortable around them yet. And to me, even if you have topics to talk about, you're not comfortable yet, so you don't feel comfortable talking. That's the problem.
Here's the problem with this. The argument you guys are making is horseshit, and it's just as horseshit as the argument I'm about to make because it's all hypotheticals.
Sure.
I think I would make the argument, put it this way. Here's how a conversation, you guys are saying the conversation could go like, oh, look at that painting on the wall. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's a really nice one. And somebody's like, yeah, I like the colors and the way they used it. Anyways, and that's like the whole thing. There
is the whole thing.
just as likely a conversation at the ROM of like, oh, that's like a really interesting Zeus statue. Like I really like the Zeus.
Zeus.
Like I really like the detailing on like
On
the
his
face
balls.
on his balls on that one or whatever. And I go like, oh, you're into testicles.
I love the detailing on his balls.
And I go, oh, you're into balls. No, I go like, oh, like you're into like
you're a ball hog.
you're a ball. I'm like, oh, you're into like Greek mythology, for example. And she goes like, yeah, like I'm really into Greek mythology. Now he's lost.
Really
your
into balls.
first thing is, oh, you're into balls. Your first question.
Like, you're into balls. She's like, I love the detail on Zeus.
You're a ball hog. You're a ball girl.
Okay, we've been going way too long.
Hold on, because I'm making this point.
Okay, fine. Make your point.
My point is that it could just as easily turn into a conversation of like, oh, like you're into Greek mythology stuff, and the girl goes, yeah, like I'm into Greek mythology stuff. I've been into it for a while. I go, oh, when'd you get into it? And she goes like, oh, when I was like a kid, like I watched Hercules as the Disney movie.
What are you physically doing while you're having that conversation? By the way, there's
standing,
other shit
admiring it, or just walking around.
Okay, but the thing is, like, you're walking around, then you're kind of like. In your head, you're like, oh, should we be talking about other shit that's going? Are we gonna keep having this conversation?
Maddie's right though. It could go either way.
No, that's the point I'm making. Where it's like the argument about like, well, it might just be like a 5-second conversation. It could also turn into her being like, yeah, I watched the Disney movie Hercules, and then that like kind of got me into it as a kid. And I go, oh,
and now I like balls.
And now I like balls. And I go like, oh, I played God of War like as a kid, and that's what got me into Greek mythology. She's like, oh, you played God of War? And she's like, and I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, like I played some video games or whatever. And then it becomes a whole other conversation. Like it's just as likely that it goes that the conversation goes nowhere as it does like take off. I
think what we're learning is that I don't know how to talk to women, and that's a topic.
That's perfect.
Agreed. Gentlemen, I'd like to play God for a little bit, if I may, with the two of you. If there were things you could remove from the human body and the human experience and things that we physically did.
Have we not talked about this already?
Die. I would remove death.
Remove death. That's good.
But have we not? I thought we talked about this already.
We have not. No? I've brought it up over the years tangentially, but
this
has never been a topic. I've got two that jump out to me of things that I would remove from the human experience.
I like the idea.
Let him go first.
Yeah,
it's his topic.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you said die, so we'll get back to that.
That was a joke, because that doesn't count, right?
Okay, we don't have to get back to that. The first one we can dissect is pooping.
Okay.
I hate pooping.
Patrick would argue against that, because he enjoys the experience. No?
What? What are you doing right now? Are you trying to paint me as some... What? I like pooping?
What are you
trying to say right now?
He really likes pooping in places he shouldn't.
Okay.
He's a serial pooper.
Where did this joke come from?
I don't like pooping. Just the whole thing.
Pass those.
No, save them, bro. We're not going to smash them today.
They're getting smashed today.
No,
Sorry,
save
Matty,
them.
go ahead.
I don't like pooping, and if I could just remove the need to poop, I would. Now, I almost, in the past, and when I was in my youth and a little more angry.
When I was in my youth.
When I was a little more angry and volatile and, not as reserved, I used to say I wish I could just remove buttholes entirely.
Wow.
And remove pooping, but there's two problems with that. Number one, farts are hilarious. So I'm definitely not getting rid of those. And the second thing is,
don't say it.
I know people like to do butt stuff.
Oh my god.
So I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to deprive people.
Can you be more elegant? Remember that one clip we had a long time ago where
I did that one. Yeah.
You did that one.
He was talking. Patrick was talking about being well endowed.
Well endowed.
Right.
We were talking about skinny jeans, and he said, for those of us who are well endowed, that's going to be a problem or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were like, yeah, well, like no one at this table or whatever. And then you were saying like, for those of us who have a huge, and then you said an explicit word.
Yeah. So why can't you? The moral of the story be? What are you doing? Why are you laughing at him? Why are you looking at him like that?
Why is he not adjusting his glasses? Is my question.
Some people are into butt fucking. And so
foot fucking.
And so I wouldn't want to deprive society of farts and butt fucking. Is that more elegant for you?
What is wrong with you? What is seriously wrong with you?
So anyways, pooping.
I almost threw up just there.
I would remove pooping from
honestly,
but keep the butthole.
When we set up this show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts,
just for pleasure.
he put explicit on our podcast, and I guarantee you, he was thinking for this moment, like I'm gonna love myself for when this moment comes that I made the show explicit already.
So basically, you want to just keep the butthole around.
Keep
just for
the
pleasure.
butthole for the pleasure and the farting, the pleasure and the laughs, but
business
remove pooping. I don't. I'm so.
You're done with the business. You're done with the business part.
And here's the thing. Even think of it this way. Imagine you could eat like really spicy food or like shitty greasy food, and you would never have to have that experience of like sitting on the toilet like fighting for your life ever again. Just gone. Wouldn't that be great?
Here's what I'm gonna say though. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And also, you're not saying this, and I'm glad you're not saying this. You didn't say eliminate the need to expel waste out of your body. You still kept peeing in there, and here's what I think about peeing. peeing to me is like a nice relaxing break from your day.
I cannot believe you're. I can't.
Let me say, if I'm at work, for example, and I have to go pee. To me, it's like the chaos of the mall and everything going crazy and like the customers being whatever. I could just go in there, pee, relax for a minute, and then I go out. To me, it's a reason to just take a minute.
Honestly, in doing this podcast, I've learned so much about you in the sense of like, you hold mundane things way closer to your heart than I ever imagined.
Like pissing.
Than I ever imagined.
I mean, it's like I just think about it like I like taking a minute to do nothing, just relax.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Same with the shaving thing. It's just like it's something that I have to do.
But this is what's surprising to me. You're saying you would actively want to keep peeing, like you want to keep peeing.
If you told me, do you want to eliminate peeing forever?
You'd say no.
I'd be like, I don't think so, because to me it's like, what am I gonna do with that 30 seconds? I'm saving 30 seconds every time. Yeah. What am I going to be doing? Probably just sitting on my phone, relaxing. Like, to me, I'm not replacing it with something like awesome. If you're being like, oh, instead of every time you have to pee, you gain $10, I'm like, yeah, I'll take the $10.
Okay, hold on.
But it's like either nothing or peeing.
So your argument is that the time is negligible. How long do you spend taking poops?
Well, poops. I didn't say anything about poops because to me, I agree with Matty. I want that out of there. Poops is more annoying.
And presumably because there's more of like a time saving aspect to it.
A little bit, yeah. I'm not going in there like sitting down 10 seconds and I'm out. Like,
so give me a number. What's the time?
At least a minute. Maybe a couple minutes if it's kind of like a longer one.
So what are you going to be doing with those couple of minutes that you're going to save?
I don't know, but I just don't like the experience of pooping in general.
So it's not the time saving.
But couldn't you
make the argument? Part of it is that, but I'm saying a part of it is like that I just like taking that minute.
But couldn't you make the argument for pooping and peeing if you added up how much time in your entire life you stood at a toilet pissing and just now you had all that time? Like, I know it doesn't seem, it's 10 seconds here or there, so it doesn't really seem like anything, but like if you added it all up.
Wasn't there, I could have sworn I read something where it's like you spend 1/10 of your life on the toilet or
That's
something.
hilarious.
Damn.
We'll get to
Don't quote me on that.
We'll get to another thing you spend 1/3 of your life doing. That's another one of my answers.
Sleeping?
Yes.
Sorry.
But peeing is one where it's like, because I don't mind the act of peeing, if I was going to remove that from the human body, that would be like 17 on the list. Like, that'd be way lower down.
But why do you not mind peeing, but you mind pooping?
Pooping is the time commitment, and it's also just like the grossness.
How long do you spend
Patrick
pooping?
a time.
Like 5 minutes on the low end, 10 on the high end.
Holy crap.
You're telling me you never spent 20 minutes on the can before?
Very rarely, but that's also one of those instances where it's like I ate a bunch of shitty food and then I'm like fighting for my life.
You're telling me you've never started a video, started on the can, and then stayed that whole time on the can?
Here's what I'll say.
Maybe, but that's not. I guess you're there, so it doesn't matter. But I don't think of that because that happens very rarely for me, and B, it's like, well, I'm not pooping the whole time I'm watching the video. I poop 5 minutes in, and then the other 10 minutes I'm sitting there is just sitting there watching.
Do you guys do this thing where if you're on your phone or you're watching something? Also, I didn't factor in the whole phone watching thing because to me it's like, if I'm just going in there to be efficient, my answer still stands like a minute, a couple minutes. If I'm there like watching something, I could be there for 5-10 minutes maybe. But to me, it's like, do you guys do this thing where if you're watching a YouTube video and you're in the middle of doing your business, you're dropping off the kids and stuff, are you gonna like, once you reach the point of like, okay, now it's go time, do you put down the phone? Because I do this thing where I'm like, I'm not quite there yet, I'm almost there, and I'll just be like, whatever, chilling, and then I'm like, oh, here it is. Put the phone on the side. Let me focus on this for a second.
No, I can't say that I do.
Like, as it's happening, you're just like still watching?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Patrick? Do you just like take a minute, like, okay, I'm gonna focus for a second? Okay, that's me. That's just me.
But so it's the ability to like
want. Wait. Let me think about this first. Let me think honestly about this for a second.
You're watching a YouTube video. It's a 10-minute YouTube video. 5 minutes in, you're like, okay, it's about to happen right now. You're gonna keep watching unbothered, just like, because to me it's like something's happening with my body. I'm gonna take a second and just like, do my thing, and then I'll refocus on whatever I'm doing.
No, I've never done that.
Okay.
I just think so. It's a thing of like wanting to be able to like eat spicy food without that punishment the next day. It's wanting to remove the time commitment of needing to poop. It's wanting to remove the grossness of dealing with poop. Like I don't want anything to do with poop. Just get rid of it.
It smells bad.
It
looks
stinks.
bad.
It looks bad. There's nothing, nice about it.
It's just a byproduct that's annoying.
Exactly. It's just awful. So get rid of pooping for sure. The second thing I would like to remove from humanity, from the human experience, the human body, and I put an asterisk on this, is sleep.
I'm going to argue against that just a little bit.
How can anyone make a logical argument against
I'll
that?
tell you.
Let's hear it.
I would I would say that the amount of time that humans have to sleep is stupid.
Yes.
I wish we didn't have to sleep for 7-8 hours, whatever. But I enjoy sleeping because after a long, hard day, I want rest. But you're saying in this example, we just don't get tired.
And
but
my
to me,
thing,
it's like
it would
I
be
like
you
the
still
feeling.
get tired. It would just be like you never need to sleep. Like at
how do you
most,
how do you get back to not being tired?
my thing would be like, okay, like I'm tired. I'm just gonna like sit on the couch for like an hour and just sort of like hang out, kind of thing. Here's the thing, though.
It's not
in
meant
my,
to be scientifically sound.
in
Okay.
my specific like branch of doing this, because some people, because I always bring it up where it's like I would get so much more done and be able to like engage with so many of the things I like to do more if I was constantly awake. And then people bring up the thing of like, wouldn't that drive you crazy though?
It would
Like
drive me
never being
crazy.
able to shut off. So the asterisks I put on it is I want the ability to never fall asleep and never have to sleep unless I willingly choose to. Not to like get revitalized or like energy, literally to like skip
For the
time.
pleasure of it.
For like the pleasure of it, or to literally like skip time where it's like, boy, I've got 2 hours right now where I have literally nothing to do and nothing going on, and it's 3 a.m. and everybody else is asleep anyways.
Why would everyone else be
Well, I
asleep?
guess
I thought
if
you
I'm
just said
removing
you
it
took
from,
it.
Well, maybe if I'm removing it from everybody, then maybe it's not a thing.
Isn't that what it was? Or you're just talking about yourself?
I thought he
I
was
guess-
removing it from humanity.
Yeah, you know what? Because I've mentioned the buttholes and not wanting to steal those from people before. So yeah, it would be everybody. So
Because
everybody would be
if-
awake anybody. Ways.
Because if it wasn't for everybody, the implication would be that you wanted to keep your thing for pleasure, right?
Why are we back on this?
So no, that would be the thing. Yeah, it would be like for the entire human race. It would be nobody has to sleep ever again. And then my little asterisk would be unless they kind of like chose to sort of like turn themselves off for a few hours and then just wake up again, kind of thing. But you would never need to. So if people wanted to be like 24/7, I am conscious always, you can do that, and there's no downside to
Can
it.
I just? I don't know why.
So
I-
sleep, go
I
away.
don't know why I have this like intrusive thought of like the camera's not set up properly and like I'm cut out of the
You want to
frame.
go check?
You want to go? You want to go take a look? Or do
We're
you want me
we're
to
done the
take a
show
look?
though.
I-
How crazy? How upsetting would that be?
You know what I'm gonna say? Can I say my answer, by the way?
Yeah.
Please.
My answer is kind of like a multi. It's like I'm selecting multiple things, but they're all of the same kind of category. So I'm gonna drop a couple of them. One, the need to wash hair. I
My mind is not going to let me continue on without checking.
go for it.
While he gets up to
I'm
check.
gonna continue. Washing hair. I'm thinking of general upkeep stuff. Like to
Yes.
me, showering. Like I like the idea. I like the feeling of showering. I wouldn't get rid of that. I'd get rid of like clipping fingernails and toenails.
Yes.
I'd get rid of like hair getting oily and having to wash it.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, I would get rid of what was my last thing? Oh, I wish like you were born, you lose your baby teeth, you get your full-grown teeth, and you don't have to ever like maintain them and do
No
shit
cavities, no brushing your
for
teeth.
them. Dude, imagine how
just
great it would be
perfect
if you
teeth.
just like you wake up, and you start your day. You don't have to go like brush your teeth, do your thing.
No
like,
morning breath.
no morning breath. It's just like you got
I would have
perfect.
thought brushing your teeth would have given you a chance to reflect on the dreams you had. I'm sorry, I'm just playing with you.
Well, I mean, shaving does that for me,
Yeah.
and showering. And I like shaving and showering, but to me, I don't like brushing my teeth every morning. It's just to me, it's kind of like annoying. Like, oh, shit, I have to brush my teeth. I do my thing, and to me, it's like I wish that wasn't necessary, and you just like
Yes.
had perfect teeth all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm speaking about. Like sleeping is more not like a small part of life. It's literally a third. Like they say, where it's like you sleep a third of your fucking life or whatever. It's like just give me all that time. But yeah, when it comes to like small mundane things, like clipping my nails is such an annoying thing.
Yep.
Where it's like if my nails were just always
Perfect length. For
like
you.
the perfect length for me, or I could at will just and like
yeah.
fucking like make them shorter or longer kind of thing. It's
like Wolverine.
exactly. Those are the kind of things I'm talking about where it's like I would like to remove those.
You guys are so
from
selfish.
humanity.
Here's my answer. You guys are so selfish.
He's gonna be like cancer, so that nobody has to get cancer and die.
What was your? How did you phrase your topic? By the way, how'd you frame it?
It's just like things you could wish you could remove from the human body, or like the
Okay.
human experience. I'm probably just gonna call the topic something dumb like human changing humanity or playing God or whatever. That's like
God.
the idea of the
Yeah.
topic.
I would remove the.
Here we go.
How do I phrase this?
Oh, can I say what you're gonna? I know
Yeah.
he's gonna say, dude.
Yeah.
He's gonna say something about like periods or something.
Wow.
No? I thought you were gonna say like I'm gonna remove periods for all women, and then everyone's like, oh, he's so sweet.
Wow.
Oh, I wasn't really thinking along those lines. I was
so you're,
thinking more.
you're selfish.
What a bitch.
No, I was thinking more bigger picture, as in like removing hunger.
You never get hungry.
Interesting.
You never get hungry.
But then you're removing. I mean, I know you're thinking like in terms of like
Like to
humanitarian work.
to not need to we don't
You never
need to eat.
Yeah.
It becomes just a pure act of pleasure.
But the thing
Exactly.
is, if you remove hunger, then why would anyone ever want to eat?
For the pleasure of it.
Yeah, but
you
but
can
isn't
remove
it- but isn't
hunger,
it-
but maintain the pleasure that's activated when eating ice cream, when eating steak.
Okay, so yeah, we're saying magically, yeah, sure. Because I'm thinking.
But here's the problem.
I'm saying if you're just like removing hunger altogether, to me, it's like you're not going to feel the want to even feel that pleasure because it's tied to your needing to.
Honestly,
you're
on some level, you're right. It is intrinsically tied to.
But you're saying magically, if you were to
Magically,
untie
yeah.
it, yeah, I'd love.
But even if that were the case, where you never ate anything in your life ever again, that still.
That
solves
doesn't.
the-
No. That doesn't sound. That's why I prefaced it by saying, food is still a thing. Like you don't need to eat, but like you still have the pleasure of eating.
Sure,
because
but
I
think
love.
about how
I'm a
much
glutton.
money you would save. But you're also saying that now as somebody who needs to eat. But I'm saying if you took that out, like Mark's saying, and you didn't need to eat anything ever, I'm with you in the point of like it would become an act of pure pleasure. I'm saying, think about
But
how
here's
much
my argument
money you
against.
would
Here's my
save.
argument against you because I'm saying this as someone who needs to eat. I still get that pleasure when I'm not hungry though. There
Sure.
are times where I eat and I'm not hungry, and
Sure.
I'm
like dessert,
over the moon.
like dessert.
Yes, this is true. If I'm eating like candy out of our little tub over there, I'm not hungry.
Or imagine if you
Well, I
stuff your
haven't had
face.
dinner, but like if
Yeah.
I'm eating candy right now, that's not I'm hungry and I'm eating candy. It's I want fucking candy that
It's like
tastes good.
imagine if you eat like a full on dinner. We can go all you can eat at a sushi place, and then afterwards we get ice cream, and it's unbelievably satisfying.
Exactly. Boy, and in this would be such a messed up world where like people never need to eat again, but they do, and then they also can't
still
poop,
hunger.
but they can't poop.
I was gonna
yeah.
say
So it's
we
like they're
can't
eating and they
pair
can't
those
poop.
two things, can we? Because
Eating
if
and
you
not
eat,
pooping.
No, I think I thought what Matty was saying is that you just magically don't have to poop anymore.
In mine, it would be like, yeah, poop doesn't.
it's not a thing.
You would eat food, and then there would just be like no.
You pee it
you
out.
would eat food,
Poop
and
waste.
100% of that food is used in your body.
Pretty much, yeah. Other than whatever.
yeah, let's
becomes,
make
like,
let's make
piss.
the human body more efficient here. What's happening?
Exactly.
Why
that's what I'm
do we
saying.
need to
Why
work
do-
out? Why do we like die and like wrinkle away very quickly? You know, it's like you
Yes.
could talk about wrinkling. You could talk about like your brain kind of losing its ability to function at its highest level. You know.
Yeah. So yeah, there's like a million ways you could take it. And again, you could. Was making the joke, but like you could do like the disease route of like, just like eliminating
dude.
people getting sick.
I want to eliminate. I hate.
But I
being
feel like
sick.
you
I don't
can't-
wanna
Common
eliminate
cold.
that.
I feel like
Yeah.
you can't say that though because
Why?
you said what do you want to remove from the human body? Illness
Sure.
is
It's
a defect of
it's,
the human
external.
body. Like
Sure.
it's external. Exactly.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
You'd say like
that's-
you're talking about like eliminating like viruses from the world, or that's like not your. That's the
Yeah,
human
that's
body.
not
yeah,
removing
that's
something
not
from the
really
human
you.
body.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So you couldn't necessarily do that. But yeah, like hunger is an internal thing. Pooping, sleeping, those are like
What
things
about?
from us.
I feel like you could say something like anxiety. Like I want to remove any nervousness or anxiety at all.
Sure,
I
you
just
could,
always feel
you could do the
comfortable.
mental health thing
Sure.
of it, of like removing sort of like the
Worries.
worries or those kind of. Yeah, so I guess there's ways.
How
could
could
do
you
that.
possibly remove worries and still be a person?
How could you? How could you remove worries and be a person? You just be someone who's like not really ever worried about something. You could just you like
Just
you're kind of like
driving down the street at like 100 kilometers
But
over the
you know,
speed
no,
limit,
no,
like
but-
recklessly, and
no,
like I'm not worried about it.
no, but it doesn't mean that you're stupid though. It doesn't mean like you're making stupid decisions. You still have your same intelligence. You're just not worried about it, but you're smart about it. So you just won't do it if it's a bad decision, but you're not going to be stressed about it. You know,
Right.
like you're driving like you're not going to drive crazy because you're not worried. You're going to drive safe because you know intelligently that like logically if you do this you might die. You don't want to die.
It would be more like you ask somebody out and you don't care,
Yeah.
kind of thing, because you're not worried about like.
And then they're
the
so into you
rejection.
because you're so like blasé about it.
It's
They're like,
not
oh my
even-
god.
No,
Oh my
it's-
god!
it's-
I need.
I don't even
I
like
want
you, but
him
come
now.
back here.
It's
Yeah.
not even like that you don't care. Like I'm saying, you do care, but there's no sense of like
Anxiety.
about it
There's no-
because it's
there's-
like, well,
there's no,
There's
if
no overthinking.
there's no
no,
overthinking. Yeah,
There's none of that.
it's just
There's none of that feeling.
Make that noise again?
there's none of what.
What were you lifting?
That's the Trump thing when he's doing. I don't know what he's doing. Trump's doing this thing with his hand. Have you
Oh
seen that clip?
no, I've never seen that.
He's
clip.
like,
I'm gonna build a wall.
yeah.
China.
China.
Yeah.
But anyways, well, thank you for my quick little topic here. So yeah, if we could remove things from the human body, sleeping and pooping, clipping nails, oily hair, the kind of mundane things, and then
You would remove
hunger.
the things you love so much?
I'd remove washing my hair. I like showering.
Oh, okay. My thing was hunger.
hunger
To save
to
ma-
save
to-
human lives.
to make to let there be one less thing humans have to worry about.
What if
Because
I'll just
I'm
toss
such a
out one last
selfless
one.
person, and you guys have exposed yourselves to be such
Well,
self-centered.
This is gonna help.
Yeah.
My last one here.
Gross humans.
What if you could like change the human body to like be perfectly regulated temperature wise always?
Ooh, I like that a lot.
So like you're never too hot or you're never too cold. You're all like you could be like today was a really hot day. You could be out in the sun and be like totally
I don't like that.
comfortable. And you could
I don't like that.
Okay, well,
How could
Patrick
I?
doesn't like that.
How could I ever enjoy a hot tub?
Oh yeah, Matty. What about the
You could
refreshing
still, like,
drink?
feel the warmth of things I'm saying. But
No, because if your body perfectly regulates
No.
its temperature, then it will always be at this perfectly regulated
fine,
temperature.
I'm willing to sacrifice a hot tub then.
No, wait, but in that same vein, you're also sacrificing a cold beer on a hot day.
I'm no longer willing to sacrifice a hot tub.
Like imagine you know how fucking refreshing it is when you have like an ice cold bottle of water, Patrick. It's like
That's right.
Sure.
That's right. Mark's
Yeah,
absolutely right.
I
Thank you
guess
for bringing
you're
that point up.
Well,
You're welcome.
anyways, audience, what do you want to remove? Comment down below or tweet at Patrick.
Can you say tweet? We don't have Twitter.
I know.
Can you say the full sentence?
What?
What would you want to remove from the human? Can you say the full thing to the audience?
I would like to remove pooping.
No. Say the question.
topic.
Oh, what would you remove from the human body?
Can you address that?
What do you
I'm
mean?
trying to make a clip here, bro. I'm trying to get
Leave
the
a
piece.
comment below on what you would change or remove from the human body.
Yup.
Anyways, there. I'm glad you got what you want. This has
I don't
been,
think I'm even gonna make a clip out of that.
Yeah,
No.
probably. Fuck you. This has been another episode 22 of Wildly Adequate. I've been Matt. He's been Patrick. He's been Mark. Anything else we want to say before we go around? or
What I do
leave?
want to say
Let's go
is,
around the
how
horn.
dare you say my name for me? You literally 2 topics ago said I don't want to talk too much for you,
Can I just say
and you have this horrible habit of doing so.
I was
I'm so
relieved.
sorry.
I was quite relieved because I don't like saying my name
Oh, you don't?
because I'm just like Mark.
Mark.
It just feels like I'm like starting something, but I'm not. I'm just kind of like leaving it too empty. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
So Patrick's infuriated. Mark, what do you want to end with? What do you got to get out?
nothing really. I'm excited to go bowling now, and I'm
Mm.
relieved that you said my name.
They're very good. Well, maybe
right.
you'll finally win a game.
We
of
never
bowling.
said like, comment, subscribe, and it's not part of your script in the beginning.
Like, comment, and subscribe to Wildly Adequate. We're on YouTube, Spotify. We're all over the place. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You know, for
Not a single minute of
nobody
watch time on
cares.
Google Podcasts. Still.
Instagram, TikTok. We're all over the place. So check us
Yup.
out. And that's it. That's your show. We got
Yup.
we got to go now. So see ya,
See ya.
nerds.